Next time you meet me in Gate City, check out Soul Sisters.
Wait. Oh, Cody Pope. I know Cody Pope.
Our friend is Cody and we not having a good day.
Musician.
Yeah.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Cody Central. If you're here, let us know where you're watching from. If you're here on YouTube, Facebook, what city and state you're from, all that fun stuff. We got a dope episode tonight. I got two really good friends in the studio with me live, so you're going to see a lot of head turning because I'm not going to look at the camera while they're right next to me. That would be weird. But we got some great stuff going down tonight. As always, we're going to jump through some of our weekly to-dos. And shout out to Megan, who's in the chat. I see you. What's up, Megan? So first things first, for music of the week, I picked Lord Finesse, the SP1200 project, Sounds and Frequencies in Technicolor. So if you've been following the last few weeks, one of my all-time favorite hip-hop artists, Lord Finesse, set off a trail of breadcrumbs that started with a single titled Electric Impression 2. Next week, he dropped a 2-pack, which had that song and another one called Stadium Soul. I jokingly mentioned in that episode that I wish there was one more track, let alone next week, there was one more track. And then this week, he's now dropped the whole album, SP1200 Project. It's really awesome if you heard any of my last reviews. If you're unfamiliar, Lord Finesse is one of the pioneering members of the Fade and the Crates crew from early 90s New York hip-hop. He's been active long before that too, most notably collab like Big L, rest in peace. As both an MC and a producer, he's contributed a ton to the landscape. So to be 30, 40 years deep, still putting out something awesome. So I encourage you guys all to check out the SP1200 project, streaming everywhere. Shout out to Bree Bell Music in the chat too. Appreciate you tuning in, I see you. Shout out to Megan. And as always, I'd like to take a moment here to shamelessly plug my own music. So if you got a moment.
My lace is tight enough for...
Big thanks to everybody that's been spinning the new record. Giant Steps in Gate City is available everywhere you listen to music. Movie of the week. I'm excited about this one. So for movie of the week this week, I picked E17. Just came out this year. It's from director Bong Joon-ho. E17 is like a sci-fi dark comedy from brilliant Korean director Bong Joon-ho, perhaps most notable for directing Parasite, one of the most highly lauded and awarded Korean films from 2019. E17 is Bong Joon-ho working with an English-speaking cast, which includes lead actor Robert Pattinson amidst a cast of outstanding talent. In the year 2054, Mickey Barnes, Robert Pattinson, and his friend Timo are broke due to a huge debt that they owe for a failed business venture. Unable to pay the murderous loan shark back, the two sign up for a spaceship crew that's leaving Earth to colonize a new planet. Timo is hired as a shuttle pilot, and Mickey signs up as the ship's only expendable, which means he's responsible for lethal weapons and missions, and his body is reprinted every time he dies. This was honestly really fun to watch. The acting was top-notch. Pattinson does a great job having to play multiple versions of the same character. It was a surprise to see how fluid everything was in this film for a number of reasons, and seeing it in the theater definitely made that story that much better. I'm going to plan on getting this on 4K, but in the meantime, you should definitely check this out if you can see it in theaters. If you want to talk more in depth about movie stuff, follow me on Letterboxd, and we can go all in on the movie shit there. All right, guys, I'm going to run through some events real quick, and then we're going to get into it. As always, if you got a show coming up, any sort of event, and you want to have it plugged on the show, shoot me an email at codycentralshow@gmail.com. Anything that sounds like something I would personally want to be at, I'm going to plug it on the show, even if I can't be there. So let me know what you got going on. Pop-up trucks, food trucks, concerts, anything you got going on, let me know. I'm always down to share what's going on around us. With that said, shout out to Big Fee, who just popped in the chat. Appreciate you for popping in. If you guys don't know Fee the Evolutionist, he was on the show a few weeks back. He's one of the co-hosts of Hybrid Theory Radio, which is every Tuesday night in Lowell, Massachusetts, live on Wave Radio Boston. Let me run through some events here real quick. Shout out to Ryan in the chat as well. Appreciate you being here, bro. Friday, March 14th, Cowboy Bebop, presented by the Bebop Bounty Big Band, is going down at the Nashua Center for the Arts. Sunday, March 16th, Fee the Evolutionist is going to be at Rap Night Manchester at the Shaskeen alongside Conflict and Nasty. Monday, March 19th, 1990s post-hardcore legends Quicksand make their way to the Paradise Rock Club for a special appearance. March 21st and 22nd, California's incredible punk hardcore new wave iconoclast Ceremony celebrate 20 years of being a band with 2 special East Coast shows in New York City at the Bowery Ballroom. Saturday, March 22nd, Michelle Andiacello is going to be at the Groton Hill Music Center. She's a Grammy-winning bass player, poet, and songwriter who was recently featured on NPR Tiny Desk. Tuesday, April 1st, is the Nashua Celebration of the Arts at the Nashua Center for the Arts. That's at 7 p.m., featuring Ruby Shabazz and a lot more. Friday, April 4th, Beth Gibbons, vocalist of prominent alternative trip-hop group Portishead, is going to be playing songs from her solo album at the Orpheum Theater. That's Friday, April 4th. Tuesday, April 8th, Chicago hardcore's conservative military image and East Coast hardcore street power are going to be tearing it up at Gino's Rock Club in Portland, Maine, alongside Hard Cash and Peacebreaker. California's own Sabretooth Zombie is going to be live at Ralph's in Worcester, Mass. on Friday, April 11th. Shameless plug, Cody Pope and Byron G will be at Kodo in Lowell, Mass. on Friday, April 11th as well. Sunday, April 13th, Cold Cave is going to be at the Brighton Music Hall. Cold Cave's the solo project of American Nightmare vocalist and Heartworm Press founder Wesley Isold. Very influenced by like Joy Division and New Order and stuff like that. Saturday, April 19th, Joe List is going to be at the Wilbur. He's another stand-up comedian I've really come to enjoy the last few years. You might have seen one of his YouTube specials or one of his podcasts. He was on tour with Louis C.K. for a while, and now he's doing his own thing. Friday, April 25th, Cody Pope and Byron G will be at the Aphodian Theater in Portland, Maine, alongside Graphic Melee for the Stereo album release show. May 31st to June 1st is Tied Down Fest in Detroit, Michigan, featuring American Nightmare, Speed, Judge, The Wrong Side, Hope Conspiracy, Fiddlehead, Trial, Regional Justice Center, tons more. Saturday, June 28th, iconic Canadian post-rock group Godspeed You Black Emperor makes their return to Roadrunner in Boston, Massachusetts. And finally, on Friday, June 11th, Wu-Tang Clan, the final tour, is going down at the TD Garden in Boston, Mass. with Run the Jewels as their opener. If you've got an event or anything that you want to plug on upcoming episodes, shoot me an email at codycentralshow.com. With that said, we're going to get right into things tonight. So tonight's guests are 2 longtime friends of mine through youth and the heavy music world. Recently, they've got together and formed a new band, making its debut this year under the name Price of Fear. Please welcome guitarist Ryan Basile and bassist Jonny Cured.
Guitarist, baby.
We're both.
I switched. I am no longer a 4-string player anymore. Formerly known as the artist formerly known as the bass player.
Please welcome both guitarists, Ryan Basile and Jonny Cured.
Yeah, no, it was a big switch up for me. It was one of the big things when we started this project that I was like, during COVID, I was like, I really want to learn how to play guitar.
Dude, I love that.
Yeah, I mean, I want something different. It was just,
and I'll tell you, I'm like putting this dude through his paces, and he's fucking killing it.
Dude, I'm not even being biased, but it's like if there's anybody to have on your side when you're learning to get better at guitar, it's this fucking.
I know.
Like,
I mean, the very first band I ever played in was with him.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Oh man.
We were
So.
kids.
Mm-hmm.
First things first, as always with every episode, the chat is open for Q&A as long as we're live tonight. So if you guys have any questions for our guests, drop them in the chat. The ones that we like the most, we're going to throw up on screen, shout you out, and get your question answered. So with that said, obviously I've been lucky to know you guys for most of my life.
We've been
honestly.
the lucky ones. We're the lucky ones.
We're all lucky.
But there's obviously a lot of people in this web of people that don't know your guys' background necessarily. So without being like too deep necessarily, what's like a brief history of your time in music, that kind of like from when you found it to like how you got to this point anyways?
I guess I can do an abridged one. I mean a long time ago, it's just me and G Basile. We were like 12-year-old kids and just decided that start a band, and we played together forever. I mean, played our first concert at Sharky's in like 1999. And then just kind of continued to progress, would play any style. I was always just down, just loved making art with people I cherished and cared about, and that's what it really was always about for me. It's just having that outlet, and
Then you ended up in Hammer Bros. Essentially.
Yeah. I mean, I bounced around a bunch of different bands, and then of course, in Hammer Bros, did some good stuff with that. I mean, I still look very fondly on those days. A lot of great memories.
I think most of us
A lot
do.
of great memories. Some stories that I have from those shows, I tell people, and they like stare at me like I'm fucking crazy. I know it's just walked away from music for a long time, and I was never quite sure if I thought I was done with it, and then I realized I wasn't. And I had a friend of mine that would always ask me, why don't you get back into it? Like, this means so much to you. Clearly, it's hurting you not making music. And I would always be like, well, it would have to be with the right group of people. I'm not just going to start writing songs with people I barely know. And Jonny put a post on Facebook saying he was looking for a guitar player. It's like, yep, what's up?
Well, I knew as soon as he said that too. I was like, yep, I'm not even going to bother looking for anybody else because he's going to be in the band. 100%. I just knew it.
And again, it's one of those things where it's, I know you, trust me, we have so much history, a lot of love. So it's like, yes, the time is now.
Yeah. And it's been a crazy ride since then. Like the progression and how much music we're pumping out now is just fucking nuts. Like,
you have like a rich musical history yourself too.
Yeah, I've been playing since I grew up in a musical family, so it was not hard for me to pick up an instrument, but I played bass, throughout the majority of my early years in life. And then, I was in a band with him and some other people from Nashua, and for a long time, then I went on to being a vocalist and loved it. But during COVID, I wanted to learn something new. So I picked up a guitar and was like, you know what, I'm going to take this for a spin and see if I like playing this in a band, and ended up, so Jordan, who is the drummer, and Bree, who's the the vocalist of this band. I was in a band with them prior, and then that band kind of had a falling out. We just kind of grew apart, but Bree and Jordan and myself kind of stayed together. We got a spot. I ended up buying guitar gear and was like, all right, we're gonna start a band. Bree's first time ever doing, like, she's a singer.
Yeah.
So her first time ever like really screaming into a microphone. So
you wouldn't know, dude. Like from the joint you sent me and like the teasers on Instagram and stuff, like you would have no idea that that's like a first time like heavy vocalist.
Yeah, and we said, like, even when she was going through those stages where you're unsure of yourself, so you can kind of hear it, I was like, you know what? You just got to keep playing through. We know that you're good enough to be here, so we're just going to keep, throwing you through the meat grinder, and then eventually it'll stick because you have it, And so
I could tell right away that she's a force. Her content, her writing is really good. And I remember I told her, I was like, dude, you got that dog in you. You just gotta let it out, let it the fuck out, and she has fully. But yeah.
Yeah, it's and so yeah. So anyways, I put a photo. I knew we were gonna start the band. It was just us three for the longest time. And I was like, you know what? I think we're ready to look for a second guitar player. So I made a post on Facebook. He was like, just kind of like a maybe I'd be interested kind of thing. And I was like, as soon as I saw that, I was like, yeah, he's in. Like he's gonna meet them. They're gonna love him. His playing and his style is gonna fit with this perfectly, and it did. And then it just took off. We just started fucking writing. Like we maybe have been doing 6 months, maybe as a collective, maybe 6 or 7 months as a collective, and we already have pretty much 2 full EPs like ready to go, full of material. So we just don't stop writing. There's constantly stuff being thrown up in the chat, like, oh, I wrote this, or I wrote this. So it's been an awesome ride, but this project is just it's the most fun I've had playing music in a long time.
Yeah, it's definitely funny sometimes when I put stuff in the chat. I was like, hey guys, I was just jamming and I wrote this, and Johnny's just like, I hate you.
Well, I know what I'm in store for, right?
Yeah.
It's like my hands, my fingers, and my old ass wrists. Like it's taking a toll on me.
Right?
We're all old now.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, you aren't kidding, man. All right. I do want to get into Price of Fear stuff, but I have a couple obscure heavy music questions that I just need to toss out.
Go for it.
Johnny, my first one is for you.
All right.
If I remember correctly, and I remember you told me this, probably 15 or 20 years ago now.
So this means I'm probably going to forget it.
Really early on in your life, if I remember correctly, you had an experience as a roadie for 90s industrial metal band Dope.
I did.
If I pieced that together correctly,
Yes.
Can you expound a bit on how you got involved in that position and what that was like for you at that age?
Sure. So when I I moved to Illinois to be with a girl I met online, 15 years old at the time. And I worked at this place called Skate Parks to Playgrounds. And what we did essentially was we built skate parks. We built the ramps. It was all concrete.
That's sick.
Yeah, it was dope. It was the coolest job ever, especially for me. I'm 17 years old, 16 years old, skateboarder. I get to go literally lay out these parks. So my job at Skate Parks Playgrounds was essentially they would say, here's the size of the area that you can build on. Here's all the ramps that they're looking to put in. Now you need to do it as a layout. So then we do it as a layout. And the cool thing was before it was actually adhered to the ground, I'd be able to go and skate it to make sure that the flow felt good. Because if the flow felt like shit, we would just then pull it back up, take the rebar, and then move it to a different area. But the owner of that company, his kids were in a band called Slytherin, and he was a 9-year-old vocalist. It was nuts. But
this is crazy. This is all happening at that age.
Yeah, and so fast forward, I ended up moving back to New Hampshire years after that, and Slytherin came around and was doing an East Coast tour with Dope and Seventh Rail Crew. Yeah. So they asked me to do their merch sales while they came to this area. So I was like, sure. So I met them down in at Bill's Bar or something. Yeah, I can't remember exactly where it was. And Dope actually picked me up from that tour, flew me out to Chicago. And then from there, I just worked for them for a few years doing their stuff and then working for Seven Dust. And then it was just it kind of snowballed from there, just doing a bunch of, roadie stuff, being on the road, never being home. And then eventually I was like, dude, fuck this life. I'm done. But yeah, that's pretty much, I just worked for a dude who had kids that were in a band that he had money. And he was just like, yeah, I'm going to buy a tour bus and we're going to go to the East Coast.
Dude, that's so, what a crazy thing to come into at that age.
Oh yeah. And I wasn't even 21. So I'm just experiencing life from a rock star perspective, which was really strange. And I thought the whole culture was really strange. But
Had you found hardcore by that point, or was that kind of like more of like an introduction?
No, I was actually into hardcore at that point. It was just like a young wanted a job being on the road, you know, not big fan of like that style of music or anything, but I was like,
but the experience I'm sure was like so
real. Yeah, I mean, I made a lot of connections, like the dudes from this band called Skin Lab. Their drummer is like the biggest hardcore kid I've ever met in my life, and it was cool to finally have somebody that could relate, you know, to the music at that point in time while I was on tour. But because we would like, you know, vibe over Strife, you know, back in those days, and Old Earth Crisis, and before they came out with Slither. But yeah, it was a surreal experience, but I was happy that I got to do it, to know that I never wanted to be involved with that side of life ever again.
Dude, and this is just a random thing I just thought of while we were talking.
Sure.
I'm pretty sure you introduced me to the band Irate.
Yep.
That ring a bell?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, that was another band that I wrote. Vendetta, man. Like that again. That was that same era. Like I would just be like so stoked on, and you know, obviously I'm on tour with a bunch of guys who would never listen to that style of music, so it was really, you know, vibing with my headphones on in the back of the bus. You know, just waiting to get to the next stop, and then having to listen to the same old sets over and over again. You know?
Jeez, it like sounds cool in theory, and then it's like, oh, that must be like so redundant after a while.
Yeah, I mean, it was great for the experience, right? I got to go on tour. I got to experience like what life as a roadie was like. But in the same breath, like the culture is not there. Like it's not the same.
Yeah.
You know, you're literally, I mean, people say metalheads have culture, but back in like that era, you just don't, it doesn't feel like it, you know?
Yeah.
Maybe in today's metal scene you do, but back then,
even in our time, I feel like there was definitely like a lot of hostility in like my early years of going to shows.
Mm-hmm.
I started going to shows at like 12, but it was like punk kids weren't at hardcore shows, and like metalcore kids weren't at hardcore. But then eventually it kind of just like people stopped giving a fuck, and like everybody just started being at the same shows, and it was so much more fun.
Yeah, and it's just like that today. You know, like playing shows even today into those type of crowds, like you can definitely get a good mix. And I think a lot of the lines are now bleeding together, so it's like it's harder to just say this is what this is and this is what this is. You know? Right. It's not so in a box.
Yeah, and we've gotten so much better music because of that, I feel like, too. Because there was just like all of these like rigid lines of like, oh, well, you play youth crew hardcore.
Right.
Like that's what you do. Don't throw solos on your youth
right.
crew shit. And it's like, I was like, as I got older, I was like, why?
Well, now note it. We have to do a youth crew song with solos.
Yeah. Well, this leads me into my next question, conveniently, and this is for you, Ryan. So obviously, as we've discussed, like I was lucky to see you play in a number of bands.
Yeah.
But that was before you eventually found your way to the band that I guess we would all say you're probably most prominently known for, which is Hammer Bros. So how did you end up finding your way into Hammer Bros after they had been active for so many years? And what was the experience like of essentially coming in and like reshaping that sound and bringing like a new sonic energy to that band?
You know, that was pretty wild because, of course, I mean, me, Steve, and Geisel, we were in a band called On Dogs that we discussed earlier. You were in for a couple.
Two practices.
Two practices.
Two practices.
And it was essentially, I think it like that. I mean, like, I still like, I want to find that On Dogs demo so bad.
Dude, I have it on CD.
Dude,
I literally do.
We're gonna talk later.
Yeah.
What's it called? So they kind of On Dogs was kind of fizzling out. So Geisel and Steve were joining Hammer Bros. They kind of went into that, and I remember Geisel was just like, "Yo, don't start any other bands. Don't join any other bands. I'm gonna get you in this band." I was like, "All right, cool, like absolutely." So then I kind of wasn't really talking to many people at the time, but I was just like locking myself in the room, writing like crazy. And some of the stuff I had was kind of gonna be for On Dogs if we kept moving, but it got to the point where he's like, essentially I got the call and he's like, yo, come in, try out, like listen to the record, like learn the songs. And I showed up to practice. I already knew how to play all this stuff off of Vitality already. So they were immediately like, oh, you already know the songs? All right, cool. And then Basile said to Jim, he's like, oh, he's been like writing some stuff. And I think I played Kids Are Dead, like just like those riffs for him. And he's like, yo, this is fucking good. All right. Like, and he was just immediately like, he was like, yes. And then, yeah, I mean, like I have zero doubts. And I remember even hearing it, there was, you know, the sound did change dramatically from Vitality to Kids Are Dead. And there's some people that prefer Vitality over the stuff with me. Sure, that's fine. I love that fucking record too.
Yeah.
I was a fan before I joined. I can remember, God, even like riding out to shows like for Hang 'em High with me and Steve in the truck together, listening to that record. It's a
good record.
It was so many days.
I think it's probably the one record that I can attribute to like getting me into Merrimack Valley hardcore.
Yeah.
Like that record, just hearing that opening riff of that record.
Oh, dude. It's so good. But even then, I don't even think like the Valley sound was really there yet. The Valley wasn't a scene. And then it was the same thing. It was like we kind of brought back this like old school crossover sound. And I wasn't even trying to write I was just picking up a guitar, just like doing what I do.
But you've always had that like
style
element to your playing.
Yeah.
So it was like
it's like I'm a fucking metalhead writing punk songs. That's how it comes out. So we weren't really fitting in anywhere. So that's when it was like, let's kind of start our own thing. And it's like Anchors Up with like Hines, and then playing there, and then that scene birthed. And that was one thing I loved when the Merrimack Valley scene really exploded. It felt again it was like kind of like we're talking about where it wasn't really like this type of hardcore was here. It was like everybody kind of merged, and it was you had punks, you had like it was just a bunch of people who didn't fit in anywhere else, and just got in a sweaty ass room and beat the ever-loving shit out of each other. It was amazing.
And then the bands that were birthed from that band were just like all fucking bangers.
Yeah. There's so many albums. Like I still listen to like Word for Word all the time. I still listen to Bonus Army all the time.
I think that's one of the things we vibed on when he first came up for the first practices. We were like vibing on the Bonus Army because
I love those guys. I like Negative Outlooks is
fantastic, dude.
Fucking love that record. That's like in my heavy rotation.
Same like The Carrier. Like I feel like it's crazy to think that we like came from a scene that made The Carrier, and it's not like that band should be like, I feel like they should be playing like the hugest rooms today. You know what I mean? They should be doing all the festivals and like,
oh, absolutely.
I want to like fucking light myself on fire in the best way when I hear that shit still. Like,
but yeah, no, I mean, like, especially kind of going off what you were saying, like changing the sound. It felt very organic. There were some times for sure, because I'm me, and I would question myself, and I was like, oh, this isn't as good as the first record, but it is what it is. But I mean, some people really like it. Even honestly, I know Sleep Forever is not as popular as Kids Are Dead, but that is my favorite record. The writing process of that record was some of my favorite, where it was just me and Josh Long in Anchors Up recording on like a 4-track, just like jamming, and just like him going, he's like, can I put a fill in here? I'm like, dude, just go fucking bananas on the drums. Because it's like, yeah, it's 4/4 time. Just go nuts, dude. And not getting home until like 3 o'clock in the morning, like 4 nights a week. And I don't know. It was just fun. It was fun.
As much as I hate going to bed so late when we're at the space or at the studio, like I crave those fucking nights.
So rewarding.
Yeah, I mean, we'll be in there, and it's like you could tell that like they're like Bree or Georgia will be like, all right, we're ready to crash out. And me and Ryan are like, fucking, we're just gonna fucking stay and fucking noodle for 3 hours, you know? And it's
I get home and I can't sleep, and I'm really sliding in bed. I'm like, so pumped.
Yeah, so many good writing sessions, like just staying there till fucking midnight, 1 o'clock, hitting up fucking G-spot before I go home, like just trying to get a crumb in my mouth.
Dude, our boy Kevin said, I drove by Anchors Up the other day. Rest in peace.
Rest
So
in
true.
fucking peace.
Yeah.
It's like hard to even look at that exit like off the highway.
Is Welfare Records still there?
I think it is.
Is it?
It's funny. I've like Googled it a few times because I used to love going.
I thought it
Yeah.
closed.
Dude, I still have like a Minor Threat poster that I got from there and like Mad Records.
Mm-hmm.
I hope it hasn't closed, but I also do wonder like how the fuck do you like stay open?
Yeah.
Like especially if there's no shows. That's like that's a real tough sell.
Yeah, and it drove a lot of business to the record store. I mean,
Yeah,
I still love going record shopping.
me too. Dude, I was gonna say too. Oh, somebody said yes. So I think Welfare Record. Hopefully that Kevin, tell if you meant that Welfare Records is still open. Give us another yes, so I know that that's what we were talking about.
Watch him say no.
He's like, not what I meant.
No, dude.
I was actually just saying like, yeah, bro. Dude, and honestly, it's funny you brought up Sleep Forever because I agree that it's like not talked about enough.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have to look, but I'm pretty sure I have like every colorway of the 7-inch literally sitting right up there. Like I fucking adore that record, dude. Like,
I have the original test print for Kids Are Dead, like the
damn.
But no,
That
sleep
Oh, is
Forever.
that the one with the graveyard or the tombstone on the cover?
Yeah, it was.
Well,
it's the guy
got
going up to the-
re-released with the tombstone and the skull,
But it's like, well, I know
The
so there's like
original
the
one
color
was
one.
green. The original one was green.
and it's a guy like crawling up a stairs.
Yeah. But that's like in full color, right?
Yeah.
There's one that's like black and white. That's like just a tombstone. Or is that maybe
Yes.
like a last show 7-inch or something?
Well, I know that
think
Sleep
so.
Forever has a tombstone on the cover.
Yeah, that one does. We even did. Oh God, we did. For the last show, we did cassettes, and Josh Long did the artwork for it, and it's like just very crude, poorly drawn figures of all the band members. It's so funny. I think I have like 5 cigarettes hanging out of my mouth for the drawing. Dude, it's so
Well,
funny.
he knows you well.
Yeah, I mean, they would always make fun of me.
Oh shit.
Fucking driving in the van, ripping butts with the windows up. Like, I fucking hate you.
Oh my god.
But, yeah, no, Sleeper, I love that record. That record means a lot to me. That music is so, I was so angry. I was in a really bad place when I was writing that shit. And yeah, it's I think it comes through. Yeah, I mean, like, and again, it's like down to like the music helping you get through it. And it sounds like such a fucking cliche, but it's therapy. It helps.
Yeah, but it's like nowadays, dude, it's like you either have something of your own or you have what's prescribed to you. You know what I mean? It's like I'd rather be a cornball obsessed with music than be like jumped out on shit that I don't understand.
Totally
It's like,
agree.
been there, done that.
Yep.
And that's what I am really stoked with the stuff that we're writing now. Especially it's different. We're definitely putting our own flavor on a lot of things. Like Johnny's inputting a lot of like, I love what he's coming up with, and it's playing off what I write really well.
Yeah, it's like the first time I've ever played with somebody that plays a stringed instrument where I feel like we just have that sonic vibe.
Yeah.
Because it's like what I think in my brain is what comes out when he plays his guitar. So then it's easy for me to kind of like piggyback or write leads on that stuff because it's stuff that I would want to write. You know?
Oh, it's even like with Violent Nature. It's like and it's like, hey, I got a riff, and I'm like, all right, cool. And we're like, we need an ending. I was like, hold on, give me a second.
Yeah. And that track
All right,
is so fucking good.
Yeah.
It's I when it all came together, I was like, yeah,
Mhm.
it's killer. I'm very, very keen on it. But I like that we don't have this like construct of like we have to play like this.
Yeah.
And it's been, again, it almost feels like it just organically became this crossover project where I put myself in a room and I literally listen to nothing but like modern thrash bands. And but at the same time, a lot of the riffs come out sounding like Terror, so it works really well.
Yeah.
But big fan.
Yeah, all things that like get me gassed up.
Yeah.
So obviously, as we've noted, you guys have both been like super active in the Merrimack Valley hardcore scene and just New England like metal and hardcore at large over these last few eras.
Mm-hmm.
Was there like a specific time period or like an era, if you want to call it that, or even just like a moment that was like a really defining moment for you in terms of just like the scene that we were all in, the scene that you guys contribute to now? Like, was there like a moment where you just went from being like, oh yeah, like I go to shows all the time, to being like, oh, this is like my tribe, this is like the thing that makes the most sense to me in the world? Because it seems like we all kind of like found that at some stage in life, whether it was just like music in general, or the Merrimack Valley hardcore community, or just like what we were doing out here. But was there like something that kind of just like made you click one day and be like, oh, this is like where I'm supposed to be?
I have one. You go first.
I can definitely say I found that out pretty early on. Again, like I said, playing my first show in like 1999. That's when I was like, yo, this is it. I think it was also, especially our age range in Nashua, the amount of musicians, good fucking musicians, that we all knew each other, we all hung out, we all fueled off each other. Even like hanging out like at the bike jumps. Like I think it was like the first time I met you was like that the bike jumps on Connaught Road and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like there was like 30 of us. We were all in bands. We were all cool. We all vibed off each other. So I would definitely say like when I was a kid, like little kid, that was like, this is me. This is who I am. This is what I want to do. Of course, walked away from it for a little while, but it was always in the back of my mind where it's like, I need this in my life.
Yeah. And it's back. That's crazy. Yeah. For me, the tough part for me is like I went through a long period where I just didn't really have my way. Like I never felt like I belonged in any one spot. And then living on Temple Street and going to the Legion was what really kind of gelled it for me. Seeing Terror in the middle of a fucking blizzard was like
on like one night, on like hours notice.
Yeah,
too.
It was fucking insane. And like meeting Jonny, like just I knew once I met him, and then the shows were literally a 5-minute walk from my house. So I knew that like every single time there was going to be a show there, I was going to go. And that's the Mother's Day Massacre, man, is one of the shows that I think about all the time, where tables got flipped, fucking everything just went nuts. It was fucking amazing. It was just like crazy. And I was like, you know what? This is where I belong. I feel like I belong. And I met some of the most incredible people, that I know. Obviously, as we're older, we don't have the same, we don't see each other as much, but I've met some of the most incredible people just going to those Legion shows. And I think that's where it really started to solidify for me, is like, this is where I want to be.
Yeah. I definitely have that same sense. It's like, and I know you have experience with this too, so it's like a funny analogy, but I feel like so many of the people that I met through hardcore are like, those would have been like my like military comrades, where it's like, yeah, I don't have to like see you every day or talk to you every month, but like the moment I run into you, it's like everything is going to come back.
And that was, him and I, we've been friends since we were kids, and we went like 5 or 6 years without even saying a single word to each other.
Yeah.
And then it was just like, hey,
it's all love.
Yeah.
Like, hey man, everybody's got lives.
I should mention that it helps that you guys are butt buddies, apparently.
Yes, it does. It really does. It really does.
It does.
I don't ever have to worry about busting a nut because Ryan's always there for me.
I take care of my homies.
You guys were outed, so.
Yeah, fucking Kaylee. Oh man.
Yeah, we're not actually working on the record the whole time. We're just
Yeah.
bang-
We're
banging-
just banging
literally
hard.
doing fun stuff.
hard.
Yeah, that's what the album will be called.
Sweaty
Butt stuff.
fucking-
Dude, I'm here for it, man. I'm pre-ordered.
Hey man.
So let's turn the tables a little bit. Where do you think your defining moment for your place in music really kind of clicked for you?
Man, honestly, so like the Merrimack Valley stuff was definitely like a big part of my life, but I think shortly before I got introduced to that, I was like 14 or 15, and Break Loose was a band at the time, and it had our friend Jane was in it, Mike Welch from Word for Word, Brandon Barnaby.
Oh my god.
And
Good old BB, man.
Yeah. Me and Mike were in the same like classes in school, same grade, everything. And we were like the only like hardcore kids that like, you know what I mean? Like we were the only kids that weren't like listening to Atreyu. And it was like, oh, like you're into like Bergenheim shit. Cool.
Yeah.
Like you're my tribe. And they had this band and they were like, dude, will you like come play guitar in our band? And I was like, I don't know how to play guitar, like at all.
Yeah.
And they were like, dude, it's hardcore. It's easy. I promise you. And I was like,
who cares?
yeah. And I was like, well, I got an acoustic guitar. And they're like, well, that really won't work, but just like come over and I'll show you. And every day after school, dude, I would walk to Mike Welch's house with him, and he would sit there and show me all the Break Loose songs on guitar. And then like within a couple weeks, I was in their band, and within a couple months, we were playing in like some barn in Farmington, Maine, with Donnie Brook and Colin of Arabia.
Oh, fuck yeah.
And I just realized that I was like, it was like in that time period, I was like, nothing is ever going to be more rewarding than this in my life. Like, I will drive hours and hours on end for the rest of my days if I get to do this every night. I just knew that's all I wanted to fucking do.
It's so addicting.
Well, some of my fondest memories, and I still think about this, and actually I vibed with Jeremy about this, is going to that church in Worcester to see you guys play with Listen Up.
Oh my gosh.
And what was Brophy's band?
Not
in Our Blood? No, in what was it? Was it In Our Blood?
It might have been In Our Blood. I just keep thinking of Rock Vegas.
But was it the big one?
But Jeremy is now he's a bass player in Hard Target. So and they did this dope ass spin-off of the Listen Up Ape shirt.
Yeah.
And I was like, when I first found out Jeremy was playing in Hard Target and we played a show with them, I was like, bro, I remember you fucking. I used to go to the fucking church in Worcester all the time.
Was it the QVCC?
Yeah, and it was Shoot You Wounded, Listen Up. I think it was In Our Blood was the name of the band.
Yeah,
because I remember Brophy's voice, but like those days were just fucking crazy. Can't Stand Losing.
Yep. That was Can't Stand Losing was like Shoot You Wounded's like right hand band.
Yeah.
Going up to the cave.
Yep.
The amount of shows was like.
Kathy is like still, man, out there representing hardcore.
Oh my god, one of the realest ever, dude.
It's fucking nuts. I wish that place was around still.
Seriously.
I'm trying to remember, Cody, when you were in Break Loose, did we play the Bomb Shelter together?
Yep.
Yeah. I remember that show. That show was a fucking shit show. I just remember, I very clearly can remember being in the Bomb Shelter, possibly in an altered state of mind, and just seeing Cody on stage, fucking skinny ass Cody with the headband on, playing guitar. And I think I might have been in the pit. I can't remember.
We definitely covered Death Threat that night.
Yep.
Jumpman Cody.
Straight up.
Dude, so many fucking memories. I remember the one time you and fucking Thou Shall Not Be Named came down to fucking Worcester to pick me up after I got into a fight with my fucking girlfriend that one time.
Oh my god, dude.
We went back to your house and you were like trying to sell me black cats. I remember that. You want to buy some black cats? I'm like, bro, I don't wear those kind of sneakers. Now I would have loved them, but
I was thinking fireworks. That's where my brain is. Black cats. I'm thinking.
Oh no, they were
Husker J's.
They were J's. They were 4s. And I remember him being like, I don't know if I want these. You want to buy these? I was like, I'm just like having a fucking emotional breakdown coming back from this fucking chick's house in Worcester.
Shoes, Cody.
No, we went back to Cody's house and fucking chilled for a bit. And I was like, oh, this is great now. Everything's fine. And that's where Me Versus Me first started. Was right after that whole thing. It started in the basement of your house. Yeah.
It was crazy. And there was like so many. It's funny because there was like so many iterations of that band, and there's so little to show for it.
I know.
But everybody that was involved was like, dude, I remember, like, it was such like a strong songwriting period that just like should have gone somewhere else.
Yeah, but I also think it was really, it was tough because the music in general was just different for that era too.
Yeah, it was different for me too because I had been doing all like Break Loose and Shoot Your Wounded, like very like traditional hardcore shit.
Yeah.
And I remember I had, and ironically, this was because of who we were talking about earlier, but this guy reached out to me and told me that Jonah Vale was looking for a guitar player and that I should go try out. And I was like, are you high? I was like, I don't know how to play that kind of music. Like, all I could picture in my head was just like, and I was like, bro, what the fuck? Like, I can't do, and he was like, dude, just go meet them, blah, blah, blah. And so I went up and met them at their practice space. They fucking taught me the songs, and they were the coolest fucking guys. But this was the first time I played shit that literally just wasn't power chords.
Yeah.
And I remember just being like, holy shit, like, I'm like figuring this out. And like, I wasn't good enough to like I went out and like did some shows with them, but I ended up just mostly like doing merch and like shit like that. But like that experience made me want to do Me Versus Me, right? Because I was like, dude, like we could, if we took all the hardcore that we liked and started putting this kind of like guitar work and musicianship into it, like who is fucking with that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so
I think now it would hit really well.
Yeah.
I think back then it was just because everything was very boxed.
Yeah.
And like we were saying, now later, as time has progressed, those lines are starting to bleed together more and more. You're seeing bands like Vane,
exactly.
You know? And I think that band would have thrived in today's environment as before, because it was like a really good mix of like this post-hardcore.
Yeah.
It was very like Deftone.
Yeah.
Kind of
yeah.
like,
there's a lot of bands I hear now that are very like 90s post-hardcore. And I'm like, fuck yeah. Like this is, to me, but again, being a kid in the 90s, you don't even really think of it as like hardcore. You're just like, oh, this is a fucking cool band.
Yeah, exactly.
This is just a cool band. And everything was just like, again, you see all these different bands together. And I kind of like that I'm noticing that more where people are, again, like band, like this hardcore bands where people like singing it. And it's like, yeah, it's like that shit was acceptable in like back in the day, and then there was a point in time where we're like, no, you do not.
Exactly.
You do not do that.
Well, I think the scene just around like in New England, like especially Western, like Central Mass right now is fucking like exploding with really good hardcore bands. Like, and then you have like Clock Out, Hard Target, Wisdom and War, who definitely takes from like the 90s new metal like playbook, you know, and they're fucking they kill it. So like it's crazy to see all these bands just kind of like intermingling and playing completely different styles of music, but at the same token like coming together. And we never really had that before. It was just always like mixed genre shows don't fucking work.
Yeah.
And now they do, right? So maybe we'll be playing with a reggae band. Who knows?
I would love that.
Dude, I would love that. Yeah, that would be kind of gnarly.
I'd be into it.
No, for real, I would. Like, I would love that.
So if you could pick 3 bands right now that you feel influenced by, who would you pick?
3 bands that I'm influenced by now.
Right, yeah. Like if I had to say, just give me the top 3 right now that are like ones that are like something that may be rehashing, you know, your love for wanting to play hardcore. What would you say your top 3 would be that would be the influence to the music that you want to play now?
Well, I think the easiest answer, the first thing I have to throw out is Terror. I am just constantly blown away by Terror because this band has somehow taken a formula from when I was in like high school, and all these years later, like I just feel like they're continuing to put out better and better music, but the back catalog is still like, I'll still go back and listen to those old songs, and I love them, but I don't hate any of the new stuff that comes out. They had that weird little period of, I forget what the album's called, but Always the Hard Way, with all like the painted cover and shit. And they started doing a little more like metallic solo work and harmonizing and shit. But it was like, it worked perfectly for them. And so that band just, and then, you know, they did 25th Hour, Pain is Power, like everything. It's like, I don't know, this is like a real weird comparison to make, but it's like, I can't think of another artist. I feel like Terror has these almost like David Bowie moments where it's like they go through, like, you can tell that they're like into a specific like genre or specific like style, and for like the next year they're running with that, whether it's like super fast thrash riffs or like super slow metallic shit or like anthemic fucking sing-alongs. Like when they're in a pocket, they like stay in that pocket and excel until they're inspired by the next thing.
Hey, there's a reason why Keepers of the Faith is still one of my like all-time favorite records. It really resonated with me, especially at that time period that it came out.
Yeah,
I was like, I mean, I have my whole ribs just a Keeper of the Faith. So like, it was a big thing for me, like that record. But I totally feel you on that. All right, that's one.
That's one. I would say from like a inspirational sense more than anything, honestly, I am super impressed by seeing everything that Haywire is doing. Oh my God. Dude, their work ethic, their like output of shows, the engagement that they have with people at the shows is like, that is everything that I love about live music. And I just am so impressed by their like ethic, their work ethic, their output. They have this really good ability to, I don't want to say cater, but like they make music that like the OGs would appreciate and feel nostalgic for, but it doesn't sound like they're trying to be old.
Right.
Like if you listen to like hip hop, there's people who try to sound like 90s hip hop.
Yeah.
And there's people that just make hip hop that you can tell was inspired by the 90s, but they do their own shit. Haywire is like that, where it's like you can tell that they are of the ilk of Righteous Jams, you know, Slapshot, like all of these like Boston hardcore bands, but they have their own thing, and they're very in touch with the like the younger crowd, the internet savvy shit. Like they're very in tune with all that. Their social media presence is crazy. The way they promote their shows is super cool. They do all these like the artwork for their flyers is like always like super well thought out. Even if it's like a funny thing or a Photoshop thing, it's like always very intentional. And I just think that like the whole way that they package themselves is just like super fucking impressive.
You see that show at the Grange when they didn't have a microphone?
Oh my God, dude. That's like,
they didn't need it.
No, exactly.
You know? It's fucking nuts, man.
You built up that much of an understanding of your music in that short of a time.
Yeah, I mean, that people love them. And that, I understand why, but it's fucking crazy. Like seeing that show at the Grange, like we've played the Grange.
Yeah.
And it's awesome fucking venue. But to be able to just be like, fuck it, microphone-less set, and then like you never have to say a fucking word. It's
exactly
like you earned it. Like you've earned it. You know, it's fucking crazy. So good.
I just think that they're like, phenomenal.
They are so fucking good. They are definitely one of the best bands out right now, and especially in our area.
Yeah.
We're very lucky.
And I would say for a third band, like it's really tough to narrow it down, but another band I'm just super impressed with all the time is fucking Comeback Kid. Comeback Kid was a band that when I was younger, I would like have ebbs and flows of like, oh, this is really cool and I like this. And then there was like a period of like, this is fucking boring. It's like not for me. But then they kind of broke this period of like challenging themselves creatively. And I just feel like after broadcasting, they just started doing more interesting records, and their live show is fucking top notch, dude.
I should probably give it, because that broadcasting totally like made me just completely disconnect.
It was like almost like a joke, you know. There was like that video, I'm sure you guys remember, where it was like before memes were out, but somebody like made a whole music video to broadcasting with all the wrong lyrics in it. And it's like the funniest thing, dude. They start shouting like Tobias from Arrested Development and all this stupid shit. And so it's like, it was hard to take them serious. But then they put out a bunch of records after. One of them is Heavy Steps, I think is the most recent one. And it really is just like, it's so far removed from the older Comeback Kid sound, but it's so like sustained in what they do. And everybody like that plays on that record really like brings their best to it. And like I was saying, dude, their live show is just fucking high, like through the roof energy. And I love that they're a band that's still like, they play these friggin' like rock and roll festival kind of things out in Europe and wherever else. They're playing to these crowds of tens of thousands of people, and then they'll go play like the Middle East downstairs.
Right.
Yeah.
And I just like bands that can comfortably transition through that over the course of like 20 plus years is like, that's a band that knows what's up.
Well, if you think about America in general, like look at, like, if you watch even just Europeans seem to appreciate live shows so much more.
Yeah.
And it's like, it almost makes me like wish that I could just play Europe, because I mean, don't get me wrong, there are definitely like dope crowds around here, but like,
For sure.
it's crazy to see the difference between like Europe shows up.
Yeah. Dude, I have friends in hip hop who like, do you know M. Dot?
Yeah.
So M. Dot is a good friend of mine. He like obviously gets a lot of respect around here, but you don't see him like play shows as often because people just don't get it. When he goes to Europe multiple times a year and literally sells out almost every show he does. He'll go out for 2 or 3 weeks and play fucking Slovenia and like all these places that like you could never imagine going. And there he is with like 200 kids in front of him, fucking throwing their hands up, going nuts. And it really is just like a cultural like appreciation where it's like, I think a lot of it just has to do with the fact that they don't get these things.
Yeah. Do you think maybe it just watered down here?
Yeah. Well, I think it's just the level of accessibility, right? Like, even if you're into a band like Haywire, like if you're from here, you've had fucking 10 or 15 chances to see them over the last year. Somebody in Ireland or somebody in the UK is going to get like one shot.
Right.
You're going to like block off your plans. You're getting the babysitter. You're doing whatever you got to do.
Fucking taking a 4-hour train.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like you don't give a shit. You're going to do that. and that's why I think other styles of music get bigger you know, it's like when somebody comes to like a comedian or a rock band or whatever, like comes to the area, it's because it's a special occasion. It's like, dude, I have to make time to see this band. They're not going to fucking be here in 3 months. You know?
Yeah, we probably won't see them for another 2 years if they stay together.
Yeah, exactly.
So I feel that. Yeah, for sure. I like those three. It's good. I didn't expect the Comeback Kid one. The other two, I could definitely see.
It's tough because like sonically, I could have gone so many other ways, right? Like even outside of hardcore. But I just feel like in terms of like what makes me want to be in a band again, ethically, it was definitely like those kind of bands. Like I just want to be in something that's like sustainable and like heartfelt and like really like soulful and not fucking inside the rigid corridors that we've like talked about.
Yeah, and I think that's the reason why I love this band so much too, is it's not your we're just trying to be tough or hide our feelings or any of those things. Like it just really is heartfelt. It comes from inside. I think we all, especially with the way that we play, the way that we all think, we all have a very similar mindset when it comes to like, you know, our being in tune with ourselves and with other people and each other and like the respect and all these things. Like it's a great outlet, like where we can actually start utilizing it in a way where, like, to me, the number one thing is lyrically, it just has to like make sense to me. And it can't just be, to me, I feel like it doesn't necessarily have to be globally relatable, but relatable internally is what really does it for me, because we all can vibe on all the fucking shitty trauma that we've been through when we were younger, because all of us have been affected by very similar situations on different scales, and it's like it's almost like that the world kind of put us together for a reason.
Well, I even always feel like kind of going off what you were saying, like art should always be selfish. It should always be for the artist. And I feel like if you're being true to yourself and genuine with what you want to put out into the world, like, honestly, who cares if people like it because you're doing it for you at the end of the day. But I feel like a lot of times when you are putting something out that is deep and meaningful and you're not trying to emulate anything, you're just doing what you need to do as an artist, people, because it's genuine,
It'll attract the right
genuine
people, right?
It becomes like tangible in the music, and it's more likely to draw people. And that's always been my philosophy on it. It's like, if you just truly do what collectively what you all need for yourselves to get, you know, like your art like completed and created, and fuck it, if 5 people listen to it, it doesn't matter because you did it for you. But I like I said, it's like reiterating, like, if you're being truly genuine, I feel like it comes through the music, and it tends to draw people.
Yeah, it circles back to real recognizes real, right?
Yeah,
so
literally,
absolutely. Yeah. And you said something interesting about the lyrics, and about how, like, your biggest thing is that the lyrics make sense to you, and that it like represents something that you can feel internally. This is like an interesting thing for me, because obviously you guys know, like, I was a solo rapper for a long time, and then I started my group with Byron, and so I really had to like come to this point of like, all of my solo stuff, like, kind of like we talked about, was very dark, very like dwelling in my fucking trauma and like dealing with my addiction and like whatever else. And it was like super cathartic for me. But now it's like I've got somebody else in the picture, and I feel like I represent both of us, and this person doesn't have a voice. So it challenged me to be like, how can I say the things that I need to say, but use a perspective that will fairly like represent both of us and like give us a way to like grow.
I think if you remove that veil, you're gonna find yourself to be more artistically fulfilled. And I'm not saying that you're not now.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, like, I also don't think that from a standpoint of from Byron's standpoint, I'm speaking for Byron, but I don't think that, I think if you just went back to what felt, or go to what feels just good to you and not have to worry about these barriers, I think collectively you might end up in a spot where you're more like, holy shit, like, I can do this. Because I totally understand that, because I've also had to do kind of like the same thing with an older project that I had. Because I was the voice for everyone.
Yeah, exactly. And you don't want to say something that like would make one of your partners look sideways.
Yeah, or like they're not going to understand how I feel because they didn't experience life the way that I experienced it. But I've noticed that even if I just take those chains off, and usually when you're artistically intertwined with somebody who's on the same level as you, I don't think that they even care about those like shackles of having to be like, this is how you should write for us.
Oh, exactly.
And I think like, because like some of my favorite Cody Pope stuff is the early Cody Pope stuff, just because relatable, right?
Yeah.
So, and I'm not saying that the new stuff's not relatable, but I really could feel it on a different level with the older Cody Pope stuff, sans the new stuff.
Yeah.
It just, I could feel the authenticity there, because I could feel your emotions through what you were saying.
Yeah.
So I think you could still do that and then not have to worry about what the other coin is going to be like. Because I think that he would vibe with it.
Yeah. He's all about it.
Right.
My biggest thing is just like figuring out, like, it's just like growing up too, right? Where it's like, I don't want to talk about like killing myself and being a drug addict and shit all the time. It's like, I want to show people that I can, like, what I've done to grow from that.
Right, you're multifaceted, right?
Yeah, exactly. And so like his like creative canvas has like challenged me, and like, how do I say that in like in a way that's like more palatable to people? And it's like made me a better songwriter, but it was definitely a process of like,
sure,
all right, man, like maybe I could not like swear as much. Maybe I could like not say I'm gonna fucking go back to doing drugs, or maybe I could, you know what I mean? Just like being a lot more cognizant. But it was also really easy because it's me and one person.
Right.
So it's like, if I'm questioning myself, I just tell them like, hey, what do you think about this? Blah, blah, blah. You guys got like 4 people, potentially 5.
Well, we're working on, hopefully, you know.
So have you guys run into, or have you like had that kind of situation where there's like lyrics and you're like, hey, can you explain this to me? Like, or can you give me some context on this?
There's been a couple times where I've been like, I think we should switch this because I know, so Brie has this limitless potential, especially because she's done her solo stuff for so long. She's a singer. Like she plays acoustic. She's a singer. She has her own project that she does on her own. So I know the caliber of stuff that she's capable of. So and it's not that I think that what she's written or if the things that she's written are weak, but I just know that she has something else in the tank that could be better suited.
Yeah.
Right. So like this Violent Nature, like as soon as I heard her starting to lay it down and then like actually put it together, I was like, there's not a single thing about this that I would change.
Yeah.
And she's very what's the word? She's really wanting to make sure that everybody else is represented through what she says, because she's that type of person that just she's all love, right?
Yeah.
She cares about everybody's feelings. She never wants to make anyone disappointed. So she's always like, hey, I wrote this. How do you feel about it? I wrote this. How do you feel about it? Because I'm representing all of us.
Yeah.
So she has that collective mindset
awesome.
Already when it comes to this. But I also love just kind of letting her ruminate in her own thoughts and then see what she comes up with, because every time that she has, it's always been stellar.
Well, I mean, and also it's like it's music and lyrics. So it's like there's that separation there.
What's meant for you will be.
It's true. That's true.
But it's like no different than if we write a riff and show up. It's like, how do you guys feel about this? Like,
yeah.
And like, I get that where it's like, you're writing what means something to you and you're presenting it to people. And sometimes it gets, it's okay. It's I've gotten that so many times.
Yeah, I'm not shy to say I don't like something.
Well, especially as somebody who's been like a vocalist and primary songwriter
in all aspects,
yeah.
right? This is where sometimes I have to learn to dial myself back, because I've been so like a puppet master. Like I have to control everything, and then with this project especially, I take my hands off a little bit, but I'm not shy from saying, I don't like that riff. I don't like that drum fill. I don't like that lyrical part. But then I also go, but I'm only one person. So if everybody else likes it, we'll keep it. Right.
Yeah.
But I never used to be like that. It was like, if I don't like it, we ain't having it, So it's like, it's learning how to be passionate about something, but also be a little bit more forgiving. You know what I mean? And being like, you know what? I don't always know what's best. This is just my own preference. And then when you nail it, or when you do it and we put it into something, who knows? That might grow on me. I might like it.
Yeah.
But I'm just so used to being so in my own way sometimes that I'm so like headstrong that I can't get past that wall. And with this project, I just kind of go, I don't like it, but I'm only one person.
We honestly haven't even really had that much.
No, I think everything he's put in the chat, I've been like, yeah, fuck yeah, I love it.
It's always a great.
Or we'll take something.
Even when you've popped up with something like, hey, what do you think? I'm like, yeah. You're like, oh, I'm not sure about this riff. I'm like, Johnny, it's good. Yeah. Like, no, I'm telling you, it's good.
It's just so weird because this is something that I'm so not confident in, right? I'm like picking up something completely new, so it's like I'm so over hypercritical about playing the guitar,
right?
But I love it. Like it has lit a fire under me with it musically that I haven't had in so long.
You've been very driven. You've progressed so much, even since I started playing with you guys. You've progressed a ton, and it's like I don't even think I fucking progressed that fast when I was playing. Like,
well, I have big shoes to fill.
Dude, you just sparked an interesting question within me, and I'm gonna try and keep it brief, but I feel like you guys will probably understand.
Let's go.
There's definitely one person in all of our history who we played music with, who, when you just said the thing about like being a puppet master and like having to like have your hand in each aspect of things, is that something that you've always felt, or do you feel like maybe you adopted that by being in groups with people who had a similar mentality as that?
I think maybe like that had some influence, but I think like just of how high I put music on a pedestal and what it's done for me as a human being. Like, I don't think I would be here if it wasn't for music.
Yeah.
So I think that when I put myself in a project, especially like being a front man, when I was a front man of a project, I just cared about it so much that I was like almost like a helicopter parent.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that I was trying to be a tyrant, but I didn't see it as that in that moment.
That's how you show you care.
Yeah, I almost felt like I couldn't let anything fuck this up.
Yeah.
I couldn't let anything be different than what I wanted, because I knew what was best, because this was for me. And I didn't want to discount the other people in the band, but in my brain at that point, it was like, this is my golden child, and I will not let anything fuck this up. And if I feel like something's gonna fuck it up, I'm gonna put an end to it. Like, we're gonna stop. We're gonna make changes. Somebody's gonna go, blah 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 blah. But as I got older, I started to realize, like, music is not it. Me being in a project, it's not just for me. Obviously, there's something that these other people want to get from it too. But I think with all the emotional shit that I was going through, and like having to, like, especially being a front man and writing and doing all these things, I think in my brain I just built up this, like, I'm the king of the castle mentality, because I was literally putting 100% of me into this project. And not that I'm not doing that now, I am, but it feels a lot more like connective, like we're working together, and we all know where we all stand.
And that's, again, kind of what you were alluding at. Yes, I've also played with people who are just control freak, a little bit too much, a little too perfectionist in everything. I never had that mentality in any project. It's just like,
so I feel like that almost kind of influenced you to go the other way.
I don't think
salvage your sanity rather than control, perhaps.
I'd say I was more laid back and chill even before that, and I kind of certain things, it's like kind of put up with it, and I mean, like, in some degrees, yes, when I'm really feeling, because there's been times where I was really feeling something that I wrote, and I got outvoted with nixing something from a record, and I was super bummed, but in the end of the day, they were all right. You know, there's some parts off, like, Hammer Bros records that got on the cutting room floor, because they're like, no, dude, Ryan, this is not good. I'm like, but I like it.
And I think that's another thing. Like, we've all come to understand, like, we can trust each other with making those kind of decisions, because we know that none of us are gonna, like, do it, and it's gonna be, like, not for the right reason.
Exactly. It's not like for a singular benefit.
Right.
Like, we need to cut that part so that my solo can shine.
Right.
Yeah. Well, it's not like you're showing up to band practice and I walk in, it's just you, and you're like, oh yeah, by the way, I, like, kicked out everybody and we're an acoustic band now. If you want to vibe with that, like, oh my god, fucking damn it. Like, there's no shit like that.
Yeah, I think it's also different being an adult, right? Like, everybody in the band is an adult, so we all have, like, regular shit, and everyone's very understanding when something pops up, or we can't do this, we can't do that. Even though, like, at this point, like, the songs that we're recording, I'm already over, and I'm ready to, like, move on to the next stuff. I'm trying to not be my old self and just be like, all right, yeah, whatever, we're done with that, we're moving on to the new stuff, because I want to put out this record. I'm, like, really excited to put out this record, but at the same time, by the time it comes out, we're already, like, 5 songs
honestly
ahead of it.
I'm loving this record, but I cannot wait to start working on the next stuff, because there's one song I am working on that is probably one of my favorite songs I've ever written.
Damn.
I'm very excited to put it together. But
I'm very grateful. I think that the people that we have in this project are the people that are meant to be in this project, and I think I talk about it all the time, like, when he's not around, obviously. I talk about it with Kaylee. I'm like, man, I'm so fucking lucky that I get to be in a band with somebody that's, like, my friend from my childhood, who I entrust with, like, everything. You know, like, if he says, like, I need you to work harder, I'm gonna fucking work harder. Like, there's not very many people in this world that could tell me like, I need you to do this, or I need you to play this, or I need you to, and I will fucking stress myself to the point
I
get it.
Like I can't do it. I'm like, look at me.
Yeah.
Yes, you can.
Yeah.
And I've even done that for Brie, where she's like, I don't know. And I'm like, dude, you can do it. Like, trust me. Like, I'm telling you.
Yeah, there have been many times I've sat there and played the same fucking riff for 3 fucking hours trying to get it, and eventually I show up and I'm like, oh, it just clicks.
Yeah, I do the same thing. It's even like I got a kid that I teach guitar on like Tuesdays, and I tell him all the time, I'm like, slow down, play it slow, and then gradually faster. Next thing you know, there you go. You're at tempo. You're fucking shredding, dog. Like, yeah, it's work at it. Patient with yourself more than anything.
I'm not. I'm an instant gratification.
I know you are. That's why I tell you to fucking slow down and just breathe and just feel the riff.
Yeah, it's been a challenge, but it's been a good challenge.
Live in the riff, dog. And well, you know.
I do more than gush over him when he's not around. I gush on him when he is around. You already made it apparent. You already told everyone.
Spice cast.
He's a gusher.
I have to ask this one. Would you guys say that everybody in your band is on a similar wavelength influence-wise with this band, or does everybody really bring something like vastly different?
Not at all. We are so like all of us are way different when it comes to musical influences and what we listen to. Mm-hmm. Like we can vibe on the same bands. Like I could be like, oh, check this out. But if you went through my top versus his top versus Bree's top, you're gonna get. I don't even think you'll find one of the same bands on any one of our lists.
Yeah, probably not.
Just because we're just so. That it is pretty crazy how musically influenced we are by different things, yet collectively this is what comes out.
Exactly. And I feel like a lot of good bands are like that. I mean, it's like, it's like jamming on like Deftones and like Converge and like Sepultura, and then or it's like I listen to this, and you just get together and that's what you get.
Yeah, very much. It's awesome. I actually find a lot of joy in the fact that we're all just not like, we're listening to the same records and we're listening to the same songs. Because I think our writing has been better because we're not like that. Mm-hmm. Like I'll write something and it'll just it's crazy how it just fucking fits together when we write something. Like it's almost like he's an extension of me and I'm an extension of him. So when we're coming up with the concepts of a song, it's like I could write a riff and then he's like, oh, I wrote this riff, and they just so happen to fucking go together.
Yeah, it's like, we can make this work.
Yeah,
trust me.
All right, I might need your guys' help with this chat question. Not to go off topic, but do you guys know the King brothers? I went to community college with them and ended up chilling with Pablo and Armando and a lot of their crew. Haven't seen them in a while though. I have no idea.
King brothers?
No, don't know.
They used to go to Anchors Up all the time, he said.
I mean,
Armando sounds like a familiar name.
Right? But I bet you. I was
gonna say, if I saw a face, like there's so many kids from those shows back in the day. Like, again, I'm a weird guy. I didn't talk to a lot of people, so it's like I know all the faces. People knew me. I didn't know a lot of people.
Yeah.
I would just keep to myself.
Everybody had like goofy ass nicknames too.
Dude, I had the worst ones.
says the 35-year-old rapper.
Yeah.
All right, cool question from Ben. Shout out to Ben, who was on one of the early episodes of the show.
What's up, Ben?
How do you handle feedback on your work, and does the feedback influence your writing?
No.
Just I appreciate it, but I don't think it'll. I always still look at it as like everyone has their own feelings about things.
Yeah.
I don't think that we would do anything different.
Absolutely not.
Unless it was internal. Now, if it was internal and Bree said or Jordan
That's
said, it's a different beast. But somebody outside the collective, I think like I would definitely appreciate the feedback, but I don't think it would influence anything.
Yeah, it's even regardless if you like it or don't. Like, you can come up to me and tell me how much you love this song that I wrote, and it's like, I will fucking appreciate everything you say. It's not really going to influence me musically and writing wise. It will influence me personally.
Yeah, it'll just give me the drive to want to continue and push through. I love, like, especially positive. Who doesn't love positive feedback? But and it definitely helps to know that somebody else. I think it's more so like I love knowing that somebody else can relate to something that I had something to do with.
Oh yeah,
because then I know that person is a person just like me.
Yeah,
that can feel and vibe on those things.
And even again, it saves. It would be weird energy if someone just came up to you out of the blue and was telling you how much they didn't like your shit. I
hope that happens all the time.
It'll be like, all right, cool. Like, I appreciate you. I'm not gonna do anything differently. Because it's like, again, it's like, this record's not for you.
Yeah,
it's not. So
I think you need those type of people. You need you want them to say that they don't like it and not be around because you didn't make the music for them.
Dude, I was kind of joking with Byron recently because now that I've been on this like YouTube kick the last year, I've been putting up a lot of shorts from like old songs that I've done before I knowing him and shit. And I put up this one reel one day, and the same day I got like 3 comments that were like, "This is trash. Like, this is absolute garbage. Like, can't believe you would fucking do this." And I was like, yo, I think this is the first time in like the whole time I've been doing solo music that somebody's like finally hated on my shit. And I was like happy because I was like, finally it's reaching people that I don't know.
Right.
Yeah. Because for so much of my career, like, I've been fortunate that everybody loves every fucking record I put out. But like, it's a lot of the same people that listen to every record. And so I always told myself, like, all right, when people start like shitting on you, that's when you know you're
that's when you made it.
That's when you're like hitting strangers and like finally like breaking out the mold. And like that was like so recent. I remember just like people on Insta, like I posted it in like a story and people were like, "Oh, fuck that, like, you're dope, love it." And I was like, no, this is great. I was like, this is what I needed the whole time. I was like, I don't need all these pats on the back because they don't fucking pay the rent, It's like,
it's I mean, if you like Cody Pope, you're gonna like everything that Cody Pope has put out because it's you. It's authentic. Every single record that you've put out since I've known you is authentically you.
But it's also one of those things where it's like, it's for anyone, but not for everyone.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. I know 100% that our music in any way, shape, or form is an acquired taste. The amount of times I've shown people who aren't into hardcore, like people like friends of mine, I'd be like, "So what do you think? This is like what I'm working on," or "This is like I put out a record. I used to be in this band." And they're like, "It's cool,"
and
it's like, all right, it's
not to sound like anything weird, but we're also like adding another element of having a female vocalist, which is an acquired taste for some people as it is.
Yeah, weirdly.
So you know what I mean? So it's like, I'm obviously fucking smash the patriarchy, right? But I'm just saying, like, in general, like, even just having a female fronted band already limits your audience because some people won't listen to it because they automatically have that, "Oh, I'm not going to like this because it's a female fronted band." It's fucking mind-blowing.
I know girls that don't like female hardcore singers. I'm like, what?
It's just so weird.
It's strange to me. But like, I feel like women add so much more to the hardcore community than most people even fucking realize. And I think, especially in today's climate, their voices need to be fucking heard.
Exactly, dude. If you don't want like simp ass hardcore with like fake machismo and whatever else, then you gotta like make space for people with other life experiences.
Yeah, and I personally love it, and I knew that from the get go when she expressed like, "I really want to try this." I was like, "I want you to do it," and then we've seen her progress from when she started to now, and it's like a huge uptick. And I do think that the climate that women are under right now has really helped get her to that point.
Yeah.
But it's obviously if we really cared, we'd be cookie cuttering everything. We'd be this is what we need to sound like. This is what we need to do. This is who we need to have in our band.
Never wanted to be like that.
No, and I love the project. I really fucking thoroughly think it's the best thing that I've ever done.
And I feel like culturally too, at this time, this is a great time for female vocalists to get their shine. I feel like we're seeing now more than ever bands like Scowl and Initiate and stuff like that. Yeah, dude. Even so, shout out to Ben. Ben really appreciated the feedback you guys gave. Kevin said, women def got more shit to be angry and pissed off about than men. So hardcore makes a ton of sense for women to participate in. Absolutely, dude. Couldn't have said it better. Straight up and down.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
I gotta go so bad.
Oh my god, for a while. Go crazy.
Pee your pants.
No.
Be a real man.
I know, I gave you a bottle.
Fucking A.
Oh my gosh. You want to talk about the record, or do you want to wait till you?
Sure. Yeah, we can talk about the record.
So we've kind of mentioned the record a few times. What exactly is this record going to be packaged like? Is this like a demo, an EP?
So it's
something.
Yeah, it's
combo?
an EP. It's 5 songs total. We had one that was like an intro, and I think we're turning it into an actual song. But yeah, we're packaging it as an EP essentially. We have enough material essentially to go into a full length, but we're kind of like, I'd like to take some of our newer stuff and do a split, which would be really rad.
Okay.
But yeah, so it'll be packaged as an EP. We're probably going to drop it all. I don't know if we're going to do a single yet. We haven't decided if we're going to just like release one track and then release the rest of the record, or if we're just going to release it all at the same time, because we're doing all of the work ourselves. Like there's no outside hands that have touched any of this. So it's a learning process, because I've never mixed or recorded a project like this. I mean, I've done hip hop. That's about as far as like my recording has gone.
Are you mastering this project too?
I'm doing everything.
Dude, that's phenomenal.
Yeah. I think it was like a big thing when we first started this project. Like we really wanted a DIY. Our last project, like we instilled in one of the other people in the band to like do the recording, and it just became a nightmare. We never got anything done. So it was like a pain in the ass to really like try to draw the music out like on a recording from them. So when we started this project, when we came together, we took a long break, but then when we got back together, I was like, all right, I want a DIY. Like I just want to DIY the record. We're not going to go to somebody else to record it. We're going to do it all ourselves. And if it sounds like ass, it sounds like ass, but we did it ourselves, you know? So it was my first time ever recording live drums for, and I think I've done a pretty good job so far, but I'm so critical because I want to make sure that I do us all justice when we put this out. Like, I'm sweating, fucking thinking about mixing it and like going back in and like doing it. Because right now we're recording over just like a mix down, like for vocals. But I have to bring all those tracks now into the main session and like make sure the levels and cut frequencies and like try to make sure it all marries well. And I'm like fucking nervous, but I'm pumped on it. But yeah, it's going to be an EP. So
this track that we're gonna premiere in a little bit, is this is like a pre-production track from
it's not fully mixed
EP?
and mastered. It's just I kind of put it to listenable level so everybody in the band could hear it. But I feel like it's listening to some of the things that are coming out. I feel like it's good enough for somebody to hear now, especially like just to kind of get a rough peek, of what we're doing. So that way no one's going, oh, well, we heard the band, but we didn't get to hear anything of what you guys sound like. So
I know, right?
So it's like one of those things too. That's why I'm tossing around the idea of us doing a single, is just because I'd like to have at least one song out that we can show people.
Did you guys record like a full music video, or like, because in that teaser you guys have, there's like a lot of what looks like music video or performance footage.
So
that was a fun night.
So we did it ourselves. I brought my cam. So I do production for work and like marketing, and I borrowed the cameras from work. We went up we practiced in the Morgans area in Manchester. And I was like, let's just film like a little teaser here. And the funny thing is the actual song that's in that teaser is actually like a pre-pro, like even pre-pro version of that song.
Like a scratch track.
Dude, it sounds so good.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, that was literally like when we first wrote the song.
Yeah,
it was a scratch track.
That was the track that we used to write in that teaser.
That's crazy.
And even in like where we're at when we're recording now, that song is now not completed anymore. Oh, I love that song.
So, did you say 4 songs or 5 songs?
It's
kind of up in the air.
Essentially, we're turning the intro into a 5th song.
I know. This is one thing that we've it's like it's not an intro; it's another song.
It's so good. Like it just became like we originally had a different intro, and we kind of were just vibing off of what the fuck was it that we like kind of were listening to? Oh, it was like a Guilt. So Guilt Trip is like a hardcore band from England, and they have like this kind of like pretty guitar type of thing for an intro, and I was like, I really want to write something like that. And him and I just fucking sat at practice space.
Was like thinking it's like Intuned and all the old like death metal bands, like their type of intros. And I was like, I'll show you it after, so you can hear it. But we just we started writing, and it just became like this thing, and it's definitely Pantera influence in there. Yeah.
But
unabashedly, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, me either. But it's fucking cool. It was like a cool thing that we put together. And then the last time we went to record, we started having a conversation about like we really would love to have lyrics on it.
Yeah, and it's as cool as it sounds. Just hearing the rest of our music and what Bree added to it, and that's what I said to her. I was like, you could fucking take this song and just elevate it so much higher.
And then we just like kind of vibed on Trauma for a little bit, and then she was like, I have an idea.
Yeah.
And then she started like, she wrote this whole part and this whole verse for it, and I'm like, I can't wait to hear it.
Because essentially it's like, what does Price of Fear mean? Yeah.
So essentially, I can kind of give you the gist. So Price of Fear comes from, what are all what has fear cost us? Mm-hmm. From doing in our lives, right? Like maybe reaching out to that one person, or going on that one trip to somewhere, or meeting up with your friends, or like playing music, picking up a guitar and playing.
Not getting out there and giving it your all, not messaging your friend and taking a chance when you haven't played music in fucking 10 years, 14 years, and being like, you know what, I'm gonna go for it. Time's now. And it's like, if I never messaged Johnny, I wouldn't be making music right now. Yeah. And it's
if I never made that post, like we would still be just a 3-piece, and we wouldn't even be anywhere close to where we're at.
It's so much. It translates to so much of just like, again, like he said, just regretting, allowing fear to get in the way and not, doing something with or in your life because you were scared. Right. It's like, fuck that.
Yeah, it's the price you pay.
Yeah. That's one thing I tell my boys. I got fucking teenage sons now, and it's like,
that's so wild.
It's weird, man.
I can remember them when they were like shorter than my desk.
Yeah. The Dino's like taller than me. It's fucking stupid.
That's crazy.
But yeah, no, it's like one of those things. It's like, dude, like always believe in yourself. Always never doubt yourself. I mean, like, within reason.
Yeah, fear is the ultimate price that you pay for a lot of the regrets that you have in life, right?
Yeah.
So that was like when I felt the name really kind of like felt it was us.
Yeah.
Because when we first had it, it was like, yeah, it's a cool name. But then you dig deeper into what the name actually means for you as a collective, and it was like, holy shit, like we couldn't have picked a more perfect name.
It's like super like encapsulating. Like I'm a big sci-fi nerd. It really makes me think of like Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
Like what is the price of fear?
Right. Yeah, and that's exactly kind of like what we were going at, because if Bree never would have done this because of her fear and what price she would have paid, she would have never I found out that she's actually good at what she does, like in this band, and we've had moments where that fear has almost, made her not want to do it. And I was like, I don't fucking care how long it takes you. You've got this. Like, we believe in you enough. Like, I don't care how long it takes for you to get to that point where you're comfortable. You're going to do this. This is for you. We've all been very adamant on, like, we're not changing anything. Like, this is who we're going to be. And if you're uncomfortable with the role, that's okay. But you're going to get to the point where you're going to be able to fill it. You're going to be able to do it. And she's stepped up, and I noticed it a lot more, especially in the last recording session. Like, she was fucking on fire. She came with it. She was fucking ready. No fear. Like, fucking let's go. And that's where the song that you're going to hear came from, the last recording session.
I love that. And it's like cool you guys are cultivating a space where she can grow. Because it's like anybody that knows your guys' music history, like if they don't have something equal to that, could be very intimidated. You know what I mean? It's like, if I didn't know you guys personally, it's like, well, I know you're one of the best fucking guitar players I've met, point blank.
Thank you.
You have such an extensive history of contributing to bands in different aspects, from playing music, doing the vocals, doing the writing, even shit like graphic and brand identity shit. Like, you were one of the first people I knew who was like a traditional graphic designer and could like do shit for, it was like you and G were like the two people I knew that like, if I ever needed like an album cover or a fucking logo or something, it's like I could always call you guys. And so it's like, to know that you guys have done so much over such a period of time, and to bring in these other people who like have these relationships with you, but maybe don't have that same extensive.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is they don't have that. I mean, Bree's been doing her solo thing for a long time, but as far as heavy music goes, her and Jordan don't have like an extensive history of playing, but they just fit so well. And I mean, they're a power couple in general, but it's just, it's kind of almost refreshing to kind of have two people who aren't as seasoned, I guess I should say, because it didn't ruin them. Like, I feel like sometimes the seasoning has ruined us in some ways. And it's like, because we know that those days we'll never have back. The golden days are just, they're behind us, right? Like the days of when I felt like hardcore, I mean, and hardcore's still alive and well, don't get me wrong. I know that it's still thriving, and bands are still fucking killing it and pushing it. But I feel like I'll never have that, that level of being able to play in front of that many people again. And if it happens, awesome.
I mean, like, well, time will tell, because I feel you where it's like I still feel like an outsider looking in, but I mean, it used to be in it. It used to be my game. I'm fucking old and shit hurts now. Like,
I feel you.
Well, it's like, dude, there's an audience for that. You know what I mean? Like, so many of us that came up at that same time, it's like, dude, I just want to go out to the heaviest shit, even if my bones are brittle and I'm going to wake up tomorrow miserable.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's like, if you guys are up on stage doing the same shit, it's like, it's just going to make us go that much harder.
Yeah. And I think that we're going to, like, I think that when we first have that taste of playing, like, we have a tentative first show date right now. Don't know. I mean, we're hoping it's far enough in the future that I think that we'll be ready, but you never know. But like, back to that point of them not being as seasoned, it's kind of nice to not have them spoiled by the things that we were spoiled by. And they really put a lot into it. Like, as far as like, she wants to make sure that everything is perfect, and she wants to make sure that, like, all of her writing is like relatable to all of us, and all these things. And she's like one of the best people to have in a band. She's just so she cares about how everyone feels.
I've really enjoyed getting to know Bree and Jordan, because again, kind of going off what I was saying, it's like, I knew Johnny, I knew I was comfortable with him, but I didn't know these guys. So I was like, is this gonna work? Because again, I was like, if I'm gonna do this, I'm not gonna do this with just anybody. But they're fucking great. Like, my kind of people, like, we just clicked, and I was like, all right,
I knew from the first practice, like, it was sealed. Now we just got to find that missing link. And I actually toyed around with the idea of possibly having a third guitar player. I would love to have a third guitar player. I would love somebody who can be a solo shredder. Like, I would love to have somebody that just can rip the fattest fucking solos. But like, finding somebody that has that fucking capability is really hard. And they also have to have no ego. Like, nobody in this band has an ego. None of us do. It's like at the fucking door. Like, we don't have that type of shit. So it's finding another personality that doesn't have an ego would be one of the biggest contributing factors. Also, our practice space is only a 10 by 10. So we have a hard time fitting into it, just us four as it is. But hopefully we do have some tryouts scheduled for bass player. So hopefully we find one that fits the bill. But they definitely have to pass the vibe check first, for sure.
If you guys play bass, you might have a chance. So is the EP going to be called Price of Fear?
I don't think we have named it yet.
No,
Okay.
I haven't named it yet.
And tentative release date, like late spring, early summer?
I'd say I'm trying to look realistically. I'm hoping for like April.
Okay. Well,
So that'll give me,
that's great.
that'll give me like I'm mid to late April. It will give me plenty of time to like mix it. We have 2 songs left to finish up recording, which all of our stuff is done. It's just vocals. Intro. So 3 songs left to do.
It is vocals.
But the 2 songs that we have slated for the next session are songs that she has done multiple times.
Yeah.
So the recording process should go a little faster.
Yeah.
But I'm pushing for mid to late April, like full release, and then we'll probably have our first show in June.
Maybe. Yeah.
That'll be exciting. Do you guys know where the first show is going to be, or is?
I heard that it might be at the Shaskeen.
Oh, okay.
But there is we have not hard yesed anything. We have been asked.
Yeah.
But if we do yes that show, it will be at the Shaskeen.
Okay. Man, I'm excited.
Yeah, me too. It's been a while since I've been on stage. I mean, I played maybe a 2-year and a half ago. I missed it, dude. There was a venue that was in our local area that was doing basement shows, and it was the fucking raddest time. But it ended up getting shut down by the town. But they were like the basement would be fucking packed full of people. It was like dope. It was so cool. They built a stage down there. They put fucking. He like went all out to fucking make this like an actual thing, and then the town was like, "Yeah, no, you're cut off. We're not gonna let you do it because of noise ordinance and all this other stuff." And then like all these insurances, so he ended up just being like, "Yeah, we can't do any more shows down there."
Oh, that's brutal.
I know, but it was some of the best shows that I played was down in there in that basement. It was just fucking cool.
So it sounds like once the train starts moving in terms of the record being out, the first show happening, and all that. Chance of you guys like regularly playing shows, you think that's going to be a thing, or is it going to be like kind of a little more scarce selective?
I think it'll be more scarce selective just because like we have so many other commitments when it comes to like our non-music life.
Yeah.
We're gonna try to play like a decent, like maybe one a month maybe. But if it doesn't happen, like none of us are gonna be like, oh man,
Yeah.
we're upset. I think we'll have to see how it feels after the first one.
In kind of even playing up what we were saying before, where it's like how we're a little jaded from our history of music. It's like, I don't want to fucking just play like random bullshit shows.
Right.
Exactly. You don't want to like do it just to do it.
Yeah, it has to make sense. Like
It
that
has
was
to
one of the
make
big
sense.
things. Like it has to make sense. I don't want to be just thrown on a bill with bands that we don't know or have never played with or don't play the same genre of music just because we're trying to build an appeal now.
Yeah.
Like we've worked on this project for like the past 8 months, and it's been together for even longer than that. But to collectively 8 months or so, and it's like I just don't have the energy to just go play with like
It's like, oh yeah, we have a show in a storage unit out in Vermont with a Devo cover band. I'm like, no, fuck, I'm not fucking going, dude. Fuck off. I'm gonna stay home and play video games. I'm not doing that.
I think it's just
I'll take the gig if you want to pass it.
Gladly.
Yeah.
No, I think it's just we've come back to the point where we're understanding that we want to make sure that we're appealing to the right people, and then when those other shows come along, at least we know that there might possibly be somebody who knows who we are and has heard our music that will be there. Yeah. But for the beginning, especially this year, I think we're going to only take shows that make sense. Yeah. Just logistically. Yeah. Because I'm not going to, if we're going to drive all the way to Boston, we're going to take the day to do it, or Central Mass or wherever, Western Mass, we need to make sure that the bill is going to make sense for us to play. Yeah. And it's not because we are elitist. It's not. We just want to make sure that because our time is so limited as adults, that like we need to make sure that we are put on shows where our time is being spent. Because I've come to notice, and especially in my older years now, that time is so fucking valuable.
Oh yeah.
Especially because you can't get that resource back.
Yeah.
And it's not trying to be like this elitist asshole. It's not trying to be like I deserve to be on this XYZ. It just comes down to the fact that my time is very limited, and now as I'm getting older, my time on this earth is getting shorter. So I need to do things in life that are going to make sense for me to do. And I just don't want to feel like I've wasted my time doing anything. And then being on stage with these guys, even if we were playing with the ICP, I wouldn't give a fuck.
I mean, like, if we were playing with that, would be a huge crowd. That would be one that would be worth it.
So you guys get on the gathering, dude? Yeah, the audience is going to be built up over a weekend.
I just love being with the other 3 people in this band so much that, like, I truthfully wouldn't care. It's just coming down to, like, we need to make sure logistically it makes sense. And because our time is so limited. If I didn't have a family and I didn't have all these other things, I'd be like, I don't fucking care. I'll play fucking
I'm
anyway.
just a grumpy asshole who doesn't want to drive places. But yeah.
Are the other members of your group from like the Nashua, Manchester area as well?
They live in Manchester.
Oh, so that's nice.
Yeah.
So you guys both are here. They're both there.
Yeah.
Kind of intersect. That's cool.
Yeah, he's 10 minutes from me. So like when we first started this band, when we first started writing together, he would just come to my house and we would just plug our guitars into a fucking recording interface.
Oh, hell yeah.
Start writing riffs. I'd start programming drums, and then we just fucking come up with shit. And that's how it started. Like our first 2 songs. Actually, one of them we don't even play anymore.
Yeah.
The second song we wrote is one of my favorite songs that we recorded.
Yeah.
But that's what we do. I just sit there and we'd fucking start throwing down riffs. And I'm like, I'm going to program the drums. Blah, 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 blah. And then it would just fit. And then we just program a whole song and then showcase it to them too and see what they thought. And obviously I want Jordan to put his own creative input on it. When I do mapping of the drums, it's just loose. Like I'm not trying to mimic you, but I need to have something to write to. Exactly. And then that's how we kind of passed along the ideas to them. Be like, here's what we got. Here's what we got. Here's what we got. And we just like fucking hammer. We would stay up in the fucking room for it.
Take it and fucking do whatever you want with it. It's like, hey, you want to go nuts, kid? Go nuts.
Yeah.
I always leave room for that.
So it was cool recording live drums. It was definitely like neat. I was so happy that we had the opportunity and the space to be able to do so.
Was that your first time ever recording live drums too? Yeah. So that was a new experience.
That's wild.
Yep. And I just kind of was like, all right, we're going to do it. We got this. Yeah. And we'll see. We'll see how it comes out when it's all packaged together.
Right. Dude, I'm excited. Well, I would say let's hear some shit, right?
Let's do it.
I am super excited to share with you guys, call this a little world premiere, if you will, of one of the early tracks from the Price of Fear to be titled EP. This song that they sent to me is called Violent Nature. I'm going to pull this up here. Here we go. You guys are hearing this first, and let us know in the chat what you guys think.
got a violent nature about me. I got a violent nature about me. No! Bitch!
Woo! Man, that was wild. I love that. Chat is going nuts right now.
Oh, really?
Lots of rock emojis, lots of fire.
Fuck yeah. Fire and rock emojis,
Somebody,
baby.
Kevin literally said the word fire, which is even more wholesome than a fire emoji.
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you.
Yeah, dude, that fucking rips.
Thank you. Thank you.
Man, I love that.
Me too. So much. Like man, I can't even explain it. Like just hearing it just makes me so fucking stoked.
Seriously.
I really love that song.
And his kids are on the track.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. So
Dude, that's rad.
Yeah, so we were recording a Friday night. He had his kids, and we were like, just bring them.
Yeah.
So we brought them to the studio, and then we had them up, and so they're in the group vocals part.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah. It's actually the first record I've ever sang on too. So
Yeah.
That's me doing the back and forth with Bree.
In the on the bass part,
Yeah.
like on the break, it's him and Bree doing a back and forth.
I was wondering who that was.
Yeah, that's me.
That's dope.
I've never sang on a record. Well, the one time that I actually sang on a record was the unreleased version of Feed Them that we recorded as a single with John Fay. And I think we recorded that for like This Is Hardcore, and then it like never came out. We never released it, and then we re-recorded it for Sleep Forever.
Oh,
But anyways, it's the only other time I ever sang on a record, because when we re-recorded it, I just didn't. But yeah, felt good.
Yeah.
right? Dude, you guys, please follow Price of Fear on Instagram right now at Price of Fear. I feel all right. Which one of these is like the best teaser video?
The song that you just heard was is going to be the one that's on the left, I think.
Okay.
If you want to show something different, I would scroll down.
This first one?
Nope.
This one?
Nope. Go down. It's that one, right? Yeah, the
Where it's
one
like
with the Price of Fear orange down.
Oh, hell yeah.
In the middle bottom one.
Each violation I receive, I begin to break. I suffer. I suffer. I suffer. I suffer. The weight I carry. This is the weight I carry. No repressing is temporary.
That's such a fun fucking movie, man.
Man, that was fucking awesome.
Dude, the rest of that song is
Oh my
hard
god, it's
as
so
fuck.
good. And like the thing is yeah, we literally just took a 30-second clip and we're like, all right, we're gonna record a makeshift video to this.
We recorded so much that we didn't even use.
Yeah, we have slow-mo footage that we didn't even touch. Yeah, so I'm excited to like actually I want to record an actual music video.
Yeah.
And do it all like I love the fact that we're just trying to DIY a lot of this stuff. Don't get me wrong, I would love to pay like fucking Urquhart to do a video for us because his fucking filming style is just incredible. But I'm like, the fact that I can say we did this and like we didn't have an outside hand come and do it for us, it just adds to like the whole the message. Like, you know what I mean? It's crazy to me.
It is 100% by us in every way, shape, or form. And I like that.
Yeah.
I like it.
Dude, it's all fucking coming together so sick.
It is.
Thank you.
Hell yeah.
I appreciate you so much.
Dude, I appreciate you guys so much, man. This is definitely like one of the more fun interviews that I get to do.
Fuck yeah, I'm available anytime. We can talk about anything. Food. I mean, I know what that is.
Yeah, I think we're all kind of fat.
We do love pizza.
Remember when we were like skinny and hot?
No, I don't.
I did.
Those years were way too long ago. Fuck.
I remember.
Now I just can't wait. I can't wait to fucking I can't wait till you guys actually get to hear like everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm fucking ecstatic.
Because her vocals like that. So that last video that you just played, her vocals are probably going to be 10 times better than they were on that. Because again, that track that you heard was him and my pre-pro.
Yeah.
Before we even decided we were going to do a record. That was when we wrote the song.
Yeah, and I think we've even added stuff to it since then. So that song sounds very different, even in that part.
Yeah,
it sounds better.
Yeah, it's just been like I said, that was like one of our very early songs that we recorded at my house. Mm-hmm. And we again programmed drums like the whole nine. We did everything, and it was like here, check this out. Yeah. And then we just decided to do a video just to kind of let people know what we were doing.
We exist.
Yeah, because we kind of kept it under wraps for a while.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't want anybody to kind of know. Like, we went through a really shitty, like Bree, Jordan, and myself had a pretty shitty break from our band that we were in before this one. So it kind of put a sour taste in our mouth in general. And we just didn't want anybody to know that we were still kind of like doing things. And then, we just kind of, it was like is this project going to actually take off? Like, are we actually going to do it? And I was like, all right, I'm fucking investing in guitar gear. Mm-hmm. So if we've got to do it. So, I mean, I spent a good chunk of change to get everything that I got. And I'm like, I don't think I've been happier playing any other instrument. I love playing the guitar.
It's fun.
It is very fun. And I think that it completely changed music for me in general. I don't feel so burnt out or so not excited to play. I mean, even the Death Hold stuff, like, band was fun. I enjoyed the people that I was in the band with, but getting me motivated to do vocals and rehash this, and I just didn't have it in me. So after our EP, I really just didn't have a drive to do vocals anymore. Now, if I do vocals, I want to do something is super ignorant, super heavy, like Kubla Khan, Knock Loose, just to try a different aspect of my voice.
Yeah.
Because I'm so used to having that trials style voice that I would like to do something that's a little bit more burly, I guess. Just for fun. Nothing serious.
I just like screaming. Well, it's even just yelling. I don't even think I scream. I just fucking yell. That's what I said. That's what I sound like when I'm angry.
It's just the primal aspect of it.
Oh yeah. I fucking.
It definitely, it definitely ignites something inside of you. It's instinctual.
That's honestly too. It's funny because it's almost like I'm rediscovering guitar. Because again, I did not play. There was a solid 6 years, maybe longer. I didn't even fucking touch my guitar. It was my kids were young and just like finding time, and I always felt like I was bothering people by playing, and so I was like, I always had all my gear, but I just like wasn't really partaking in it. And also whenever I would try to write, it just like wasn't there. And then I'd say probably maybe 4 years ago, I started like practicing again, and I started being like, oh, that's kind of cool. So I kind of like that. And even there was like when I first joined, like there was a couple of riffs. There's one riff in particular that's in Men as Wolves. I had that in my pocket. I've had that riff in my pocket for like fucking 3 years.
Yeah.
I just like really like that.
Well, there's another riff that I want to snag from another project that he was working on that never saw the light of day. And it's hard because we're playing in a different tuning. So we need to figure out how to transpose it to our tuning. But it's the intro riff to this fucking song. It kills. Yeah. Like I fucking love it so much, and I've been saying it since he showed it to me. I'm like, I want to use that. Yeah. I want to use that.
We can. I'll get on it.
Yeah. It's so fucking good. It's so fun.
Yeah, that was God. That was again probably like 3 years ago. Very quickly, like worked on a project with like Basile and Vinny. And it kind of fizzled out, but like wrote some shit, and it was like really good. But yeah, it just kind of fizzled out, and then Basile started like the world. Like shortly after that, and I was like, yeah, you got that.
That's fair.
Yeah,
so good. That band is so good.
Yeah, I know. I'm interested to see what they're gonna do now.
Yeah. I mean, it's. I like the style. I like the almost like the anticipation that they kind of bring on. I mean, their social media presence was cool. Yeah. Those little videos that they would drop are dope. I'm excited to see where they go because the 2 EPs that I have heard are fucking awesome front to back. So it'd be nice to see them kind of top that. But oh man, yeah, they're that's another band that I'm like I really like, especially right now.
The world does need a Cody Pope feature on the next joint, though.
Yeah, there you go.
Just saying.
Definitely.
Not too many hardcore bands with rap features on them, so I got to get it in where I fit in.
Yeah.
All right, quick top 3 hardcore or metal albums that you are your top 3. What are your top 3?
My top 3. All right. Well, I can definitely say hardcore and metal albums that influenced me greatly throughout my life, and it's Chaos AD by Sepultura.
One of mine too.
When Forever Comes Crashing by Converge. The first time I heard that record, I was like, I had no idea music could sound like this, and it blew my fucking mind. And then Justice replaced by Revenge.
I literally was just listening to that on the way over.
That was, and I know some people are like, it like. That was my first Ringworm record. That one.
Yeah.
That record blew my fucking mind. I'm fucking blowing the mic too.
At least it's working.
Yeah, no, those. I mean, I think it's just by me saying those. I think that kind of translates for people who might know my music and my playing. Like it kind of tracks. For those are big influences for me.
I won't say Sepultura for me because I was in a Sepultura cover band when I lived in Illinois.
Then I wish I was from Sepultura.
Yeah, I was almost. That's when I first started doing like vocals on a microphone, but I tried so hard to emulate Max Cavalera that it just didn't work.
I wanted to be Max Cavalera when I was like 13 years old. So it's the coolest motherfucker on the planet. I got a Warlock in everything. Like I wanted to be that guy.
What about you?
Oof. Well, it's not a super early record, but I would say a hardcore record that has had like a profound impact on me musically is Death Knows Your Name from Hope Conspiracy.
Okay. Yep.
I was in 10th grade, maybe 10th or I was in like 10th or 11th grade when that record came out. And so obviously Hope Conspiracy had been on like hiatus for like, I don't know, 5 or 10 years before that.
Mm-hmm.
So I had heard stuff from Endnote. I had heard, I was like vaguely familiar, but nothing I had heard was like, oh my God, I'm obsessed with this band.
Mhm.
When that, from the first note that rings out on Death Knows Your Name, I like had fucking goosebumps running up my arms. And like to this day, if I like put that on, there's just like not a record that compares sonically. There's just something about that like, it like does something to my soul where it's like I want to start like peeling my fucking flesh off and shit. It's like feels like war music or something.
Do you ever find that like hardcore? How does hardcore influence you in your music?
Oh my gosh, in so many ways, dude. Yeah. Honestly, so much of what I know from music is from hardcore.
Yeah,
it was like I started going to shows when I was 12, and I played in my first band at like 14 or 15.
No, I know this, but it was like,
well, those who don't know, hip hop and hardcore are very similar.
Oh yeah,
yeah. But I didn't have that like mainstream music experience really, where it was like I didn't go to like Kiss 108 concerts or like I didn't go to like the TD Garden all the time. Like my whole upbringing was like going to shows in fucking Brockton or the American Legion or whatever. It was like
kind of all like that.
Yeah. And so like that's what I've carried over into hip hop is like crowd engagement is one of the biggest things. Like so much of hip hop shows is like watch me like expel my skill and like be impressed. And like my whole thing is like nobody wants to just stand around and watch people. So it's like I've always tried to figure out like how do I get people to engage? Where can I fit a sing along? Where can I like get into the crowd? Where can I like get some reaction from people so that they feel like they're like, as much a part of this as it's like I can't stage dive, so what's the next best thing I could do? It's like get in the crowd and have a sing along or something like
try
that.
to get almost like a pylon. Like
exactly.
People to rush the stage if I can get with you. Okay.
Yeah. My name is Cody and I'm not having a good day.
Exactly. But even that, dude, like hardcore has such a timelessness, right? Where we all fucking are nostalgic for bands that were 20, 30 years old. We talk about records that were 10 or 15 years old, like they're the epicenter of our being and shit. Hip hop is so disposable.
Yeah, it's very current.
Stuff just like comes and goes and doesn't have a lifespan. So like that song you just brought up, Not Having a Good Day, I put that out in 2018.
Oh, I know.
And to this day, I still play that at every single show I play because it's like the whole room just like circles around me and it's like this thing that everybody can like take ownership of and like that's their fucking theme song for having a shitty day at work or whatever the case is. And it's like all of that kind of stuff I feel like I got from hardcore because there's not a lot of hardcore music that's like self-involved. If it is, it's like an experience that's like shared amongst a lot of people, like it's like generality of depression or a generality of anger. And maybe it's forged from a specific situation that only you had, but that greater experience is for everybody. And like hardcore, I always felt was a place of catharsis. And so that's what I try to bring to hip hop is like, I don't want you to like leave my show the same way you came in. You should be a little tired. You should be a little like, you got something from it and you also left something there as well. Like, and I just think that those are like the best things that I could take from hardcore is just like how you interact with your community. People will like, when people find out that I was like in hardcore bands, they're like, oh dude, I can tell the way you perform. Like you're super into it and like you get all angry and blah, blah, blah. And like, so that stuff is cool, but that's like not something I'm trying to do. That's
it's
kind of like
just coming.
Yeah, it's part of your
person.
It's your persona. It's your personality.
Yeah, and that's why it comes back to that. Like, I didn't have any like formal music. Like, I didn't take guitar lessons. I didn't like, do traditional shit. I had older siblings that just threw me into like rap and hardcore.
Yeah,
and that was all I knew. So like, those parts of it don't feel like I'm like taking something over as much as it's like that's just part of me.
Yeah.
But the stuff that I learned from hardcore, where it's like crowd engagement, philosophical shit, right? Yeah. Where it's like if you say something, you're hoping everybody's going to sing along with you. Yeah. So like your time on the mic is not to be wasted. Like, don't just say some fucking useless, stupid shit.
Yeah.
How many bands did we see that like had nothing to say and they're not here today?
Oh,
Yeah.
plenty.
You know? And so it's like
A plethora.
It's just lyrics for the sake of lyrics because
yeah,
the song needs vocals. It's like oh, and kind of even going back to kind of what we were talking about before with the person who would be a little controlling at times. Again, it's like, hey, what does the song mean?
Yeah.
What do you say?
Yeah.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah.
No substance.
No, you'd be digging for meaning in
Yeah.
something that's like, bro, you're trying too hard.
Yeah.
Like,
am I supposed to not understand the metaphors?
No, they weren't metaphors. They were just really shitty sentences matched
just
together.
Very vague stuff. No, I feel you 100%. And yeah, like I always felt like hip hop needed more of that, where it's like drawing from punk rock and stuff. It's like, dude, just fucking get into it. Like, there's so many rap songs that make me want to fucking fight people. It's like, why aren't there more mosh pits at rap shows? There should be. There should be fucking crowd surfing. Like, if the song's hype as shit, why aren't people getting hype as shit?
Yeah. Dude,
Well,
I played for Denzel Curry in 2015 or 16, and it was at the Middle East upstairs.
Yeah.
And it was on a weeknight, like a Thursday night or something. And dude, this kid was literally stage diving to the like 100-something people that were there.
Yeah.
And it was like it was like you could tell people were so confused, but nobody let this guy fall. And it was like, dude, this is it. Like this is where we're headed. Is like
Denzel Curry's a nut. I like him.
Yeah, I saw Sadistic upstairs, Middle East, same type of idea. Just fucking cool. Like oh man. But yeah, hip hop could draw so much from hardcore. Like the cultures are very similar, and a lot of people just, if you're not in it, you don't really see it. But being connected to both, you really understand how they both like are really one and the same.
Yeah, it's such a Venn diagram.
But I just realized I cut you off, and we digressed heavily. I think because he asked you 3 hardcore albums.
We heard one,
and then I fucking cut you off and we went on a tangent. I'm sorry.
No, that's all good. I'm trying to think of. I don't know. All right, so this is another one that's not like an old-ish record.
Doesn't matter because different record. Even if a record could come out tomorrow and hit me in a way, it will just completely erase everything that
I do love, because again, where all those records that changed my life and changed the way I viewed music, I didn't know that was going to happen the day before, and that could still happen fucking tomorrow. Just like you said, someone could drop some shit and be like, "Oh wow, okay." The game has changed for me.
Forever evolving.
Dude, so it was, what year was it? I'm trying to think. It was 2005 or 2006. I was upstairs at Ryan Devine's house.
Oh my God.
And
Blast from the past.
Exactly, dude. And he told me Remembering Never has a new album out. And I literally was like, I don't even know who that is, bro. It sounds like some metalcore shit. Like, and he was like, no, bro, you got to listen to this. It was God Save Us.
Yep.
Literally, dude, to this day, I will play that album front to back, no skips. Just
it's the same way I feel about Women and Children Die First. Like it's so
well, and that's the thing, and that's a great record too. Like I went back and like fell in love with the whole thing. But God Save Us was like the turning point of like, oh my God, like this is different, dude. Like, because it was like it had all of these like viciously metallic parts in it that as like a hardcore kid, it was like, oh, we're not supposed to like have shit like I wasn't used to shit like that. I was used to like fucking that like Youth Crew like power chord fucking stomp 2-step like and then and then hearing those riffs, it was like, bro, it was like, how do these people play this shit? Like I was so mind blown. And then every time I listened to it, then the lyrical matter, I would start picking up on the subject matter, and it was like nobody wrote songs like that. Like, dude, they were writing songs about fucking abuse of women and women's rights and shit like that, and like, you know, confliction with religious matters, which was going through my life was obviously like a big thing for me at that point.
I remember.
Like, you know, like even before the Shoot Your Wounded shit, I had like voluntarily like dove into all this fucking like Christianity shit, just kind of like looking for fucking something to like be part of. And I mean, as fucked up as Shoot Your Wounded was, I was also like fortunate that it gave me a lot of like perception on the world to be like, man, like I was on the right path, but not with the right thing. And all these people just kind of like abuse this title to get into a different niche of shit. You know,
kind of let you see like without a veil.
The inauthenticity of it all. And it was like, nah, you could just like be a good person and not like drink the fucking Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
And hearing a record like God Save Us at that time really like just fucking like hit me in the fucking chest, where it was like, oh my God, dude, like this is how I feel. And I just didn't know like the fucking words to say it, or like the courage to say it so fucking bluntly. You know what I mean? It's like, dude, I'll never, guys, don't hate me in chat for saying this. Hopefully I don't get kicked off YouTube. But dude, there's a line on that album I'll never forget where Pete says, God is a faggot hater. And it just like fucking blew my mind, because you're like, you hear it and your go-to is like, oh, what the fuck? Like he just said that. But then you're like, oh, like contextually, like,
right,
that's right. And I don't ever want to fucking follow some shit like that. Like, I don't ever want to be morally aligned with something so reprehensible, you know? But it was like, it took saying it in such a blunt manner to really just be like, oh, dude, like, this is not as complicated as it feels internally. You know, it's like, you just got to like follow your gut sometimes. So that was definitely like a super fucking powerful record for sure. I'm trying to think of one that was like a little earlier on, because those definitely came like a little later. I guess my third one I would say is a little more on like the punk hardcore side, would be Damaged by Black Flag. When I was in like 6th grade.
Well, I know you're a big Henry Rollins guy too.
And that's what it was, dude, was 5th grade. I got my first, like, I was able to buy my own CDs for the first time. I did the little Columbia House stamp joint that my mom.
They're gonna come after you for that.
For real, dude. Yeah. And then like I had a cousin that would bring me to Newbury Comics and shit, so then I could start like buying my own shit. And so 5th grade, it was like, oh, Blink-182, fucking Jay-Z, da 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 da. And then next year in 6th grade, I found out about Dead Kennedys, and then it was like just the fucking wormhole from there.
Yeah.
And so after Dead Kennedys, the next logical thing was Black Flag. And I fell in love with Black Flag. And so it was like any record I could get my hands on from Black, like to this day, I think I have almost the entire fucking discography on CD. And it just like, that like challenged everything I knew about punk rock in my small little fucking punk rock brain at the time. And the next year I was in 7th grade. So it was the start of junior high. And I'm a pretty like avid reader and have been for most of my life. So I would spend a lot of time at fucking Barnes and Nobles. Plus that was like the spot back in the day. It was like open till 11 o'clock. You just fucking hang out and shit. But I was there in 7th grade, dude. I had like taken the city bus. I was just killing time. And I fucking was going through books, and I found a book that was called Solipsist, and it said Henry Rollins. And I was like, yo, there's no way this is the dude from Black Flag. Like, why would he have a book? That doesn't make sense. And I fucking pulled it out, dude, and opened it up, and it's right away. It's like, fucking Washington, D.C., punk rock icon, blah, blah. Yeah. And I was like, yo, what? Like, my, like, 12-year-old brain couldn't fathom that, like, I just found out about punk rock, and now all these punk rock dudes write books and shit.
Read a fucking book.
And that's what it was, dude, was like, that shit made me, I never wanted to, like, be dumb after that. There was, like, a long period of time, like, going to punk shit, whereas, like, I would go to these, like, early, you know, you see, like, the Knocks, the Struggle, like, all these kind of
bands. God, yeah. Holy shit.
And it was, like, that, like, I loved that shit at the time, but that was very much just, like, destruction for destruction's sake, anarchy for no fucking reasonable fucking description, kind of, you know,
youth rebellion for the sake of rebellion.
Yeah,
I get it.
And like going through like the Black Flag and Rollins shit really was like, oh no, this punk rock shit is not just like, this is not just like some like Mohawk fucking stupid clothes shit. This is like a whole mentality that you gotta like fucking carry with you, and it's like, it's always challenged me to this day to be like, almost like this like internal dialogue of like, would Henry Rollins like punch me in the fucking face if I like said this out loud?
Yeah.
And not because he's
Maybe.
he's not like a beacon of fucking morality. There's obviously shit that I don't agree with.
I've always appreciated his blunt realness with people. Like he is just zero fucks given. He is himself. He will say whether you like it or not. He is just true to who he is. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Shit. That's I try to be that way in a lot of ways where it's like, you know, like I'm me. I speak my mind about things. I really don't care if people agree with me or not because I'm just being true to myself. And I think it's a good way to be.
Yeah.
In certain aspects. It's a thin line to walk at times, but for sure, like, no, I have respect for the man.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, me too, man. There's definitely this balance of just being comfortable, not knowing shit, but also standing on the shit that you know, and like being willing to learn more when you're wrong.
Oh yeah.
Well, I mean, we're as humans, we have a hard time ever admitting that we don't know something, or you know, it's just a human nature fault.
Yeah.
But I think we as people, and I mean everyone, needs to just kind of shed that, especially now more than ever. Like it's okay to be wrong. It's okay to be ill-informed. It's okay to be deceived. It happens to all of us. But you don't live in denial and don't live with your blinders on. It's time for you to kind of, you know, let that shit go so you can start building to be a better person. Because as soon as you start doing that, you'll start realizing that life is a lot better than you fucking think it is.
Yeah.
But I mean, you can't force everybody to be a good person.
Exactly. You just can challenge yourself and, you know, hope that you have an impact elsewhere.
Yes, exactly.
Well, dude, I am fucking so grateful that you guys have let me eat up so much of your time. This was fucking awesome.
Pleasure's all mine.
Everybody that's in the chat, luckily we still got a lot of us here. Thank you guys for sticking around. Make sure you guys follow @Price of Fear on Instagram. EP coming out hopefully this spring, either spring, early summer. Look out for show announcements soon. Anything you guys want to fucking say before we jump ship?
I just appreciate you. Appreciate anybody that hung out with us tonight. I love my band members more than I could ever express, and I'm excited to fucking take over the world and smash shit with you guys.
Yeah, I really want to say I'm proud of you, and as someone who's known you again as Little Cody, just everything you got here and this, what you've built for yourself is fucking dope, dude.
Thank you, man.
I think it's super rad, and it makes me really happy whenever I see your stuff. Just knowing that, again, you're being true to yourself. You're doing what the fuck you want, and there's like this shit. This is punk rock, you know. Like we got Cody fucking T. You got your own pirate television station, you know. Like that's punk as fuck, dude. I appreciate everybody for watching.
Yeah, I'm very grateful for the friendships that I have in this room.
Yeah,
like in this room alone, there's like a fucking century almost.
We've all known each other a very long time. Even though, again, there's long stretches where we haven't seen each other, but
it's like you guys were such a big part of my formative years. You know, it's like the person I am today is because of fucking hardcore and everything that I like went through with the friends that I made in hardcore.
Yeah, I think it's like it's cyclical, right? I think we're all kind of in that same exact environment where we all believe and feel the same exact way. Mm-hmm. Like two crucial people in my growing up years, and I think we can all fucking Spider-Man point our fingers like this and say the same thing.
Literally.
It's fucking crazy. Yeah. It's a lot to take in.
I know.
It's weird. It's weird. It's weird.
It really is. It's like a heavy feeling, dude, because it's like, you know, it's like so many people have come and gone in this time, and so many people we all know like aren't here to like see all the shit that we're doing.
Right.
And it's like, man, like we all came through a lot of shit and came out the other side. Like
it's it's crazy to like in you know, it sounds like corny to say, but like survived the shit because it's the scene attracts, you know, fucking hurt people.
Yeah.
And
I think that's what I love about it.
It's also what I love about
Yeah.
it. I don't fuck with normal people, man.
I don't think any of
I
us
don't
do.
fuck with normal people.
No,
Like,
normal people are the weirdest.
yeah. Yeah. Oh, it's just like, what was that? It was that Joey Diaz. He's like, you gotta do something. Like, I don't care. You shoot heroin or suck toes. You gotta do something, man. But it's like, yeah. No, it's just, it's wild. It's wild to think about, like, how many years have passed and how much we've done and how many faces we've seen. And it's like some people, you know, grew out of it because it was like a phase.
Yeah.
And it's like, nah, man, it's like this is who we are.
Yeah, it's like this was a lifestyle from the day I walked in. You know, there was never a getting out phase.
I just wish I did it more.
Yeah,
when
me
I
too,
was
yeah.
younger. Like I think about all the things that I could have done, or all the places that I could have visited, or even shows that I could have gone to, and I let the price of fear hold me back from doing those things. You know, so it's like I and now in my older years, I try to spread the message like, don't let that shit happen, because you don't want to regret. There's a lot of things in my life that I regret, and I wish I could go back and rewrite those things. But from now on, I just don't let it be the deciding factor. Right.
All right. Well, if there's anybody watching that's younger, and you're doubting yourself in something, like, dude, like for real, like believe in yourself. Do the fucking thing, whatever it is. Do the thing.
Take risks.
Take the risk.
Fail.
Because I promise you, I have failed so many times, and I am a profoundly better person from falling on my face repeatedly. So yeah, don't let fear ever stop you. Don't ever doubt yourself. Love yourself. Believe in yourself. Remember that you are the prize. You are worth everything that you want in life, and fucking go for it.
Fuck yeah.
I love that, dude. That rings so true, dude. I keep this thing right above the door there. It's somebody wrote that I had said one time, apparently, and I said, challenge people to do the uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because it's never comfortable to do the thing that we love until it's doing for us.
Yeah, right.
But it's like, it's never going to start doing for you until you take that risk.
Even this, I hate being on camera.
A lot of people do.
I fucking hate it.
Oh yeah, the whole car ride over here. He's like, my stomach's in knots.
You know how many favors I've called in to do this show, and it's always people being like, bro, I don't like talk on camera. And I'm like, guess what? I don't either. Like I fucking rap. It's way more comfortable to just like rap pre-rehearsed.
Yeah. Dude, I'm a guitar player. I hide behind this thing, dude. Fuck. I gotta talk and have people see me. I squirming in the chair.
Doesn't bother me. I'll talk all the time. You want to fucking talk? Just give me a call.
Well, that's why you guys are a good pair. You know?
It's fucking weird.
I just don't know how to shut the fuck up most of the time.
I don't know. I talk a ton too. I talk more without. I think I was like really scared. I was scared.
Yeah.
Scared.
His stomach was in knots.
Yeah,
He's like, I don't know, man. I'm not. This is not my.
It's not me. It's not me to be like have a spotlight on me at all. I don't like it.
And then you came in and saw it was just a little dinky red light.
No,
that's not so scary.
It's staring at him right now. He's gonna be thinking about this in his sleep.
It's like a fucking light up glory hole. It's terrifying.
$30, the world's finest technology, right there, baby. Oh my gosh, dude! Thank you guys so much. Seriously, this was fucking awesome. I can't thank you guys enough.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, appreciate it,
guys. Make sure you guys are following at Price of Fear on Instagram. Debut EP coming out this year. First show's coming out this year. Don't fucking sleep. Go follow them now. Go like all their fucking videos. Drop fire emoji comments on all their videos. And fucking support good ass music. Thank you guys so much for joining us on the show tonight. It has been a fucking blast. Sorry you guys looked at the side of my face for so long. As always, Giant Steps in Gate City is still available on CD. We have a few limited copies left. Go to hellhoundpublishing.com and grab one while you can, or visit a local Bull Moose if you're in the area. Shout out to Ryan. Appreciate you being here for the whole fucking show.
Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you, Ryan.
He said great interview. So thank you guys for that. And yeah, that's going to be all from us tonight. Thank you so much. Come back next week. Next week, we're going to have Eleanor from New Hampshire Underground in the studio talking about the New Hampshire Underground venue, studio, shows, all the stuff they have going on. Make sure you guys are following at Price of Fear, and make sure you guys are subscribed to Hellhound Publishing on YouTube. Good night. Preach.
Cody here. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Cody Central. If you'd like to support the show and help me keep this thing afloat, please check out some of the options below. Thank you so much for supporting, and as always, subscribe, like, and comment.